What is going on to all the YouTube people out there? I am not trying to get a copyright issue with that song problem. So there will be new intro music to the pregame show next week. I promise. I did buy it. I just haven't had time to put it together. Not that any of you really care about that, but that's just more for the people who are, in the YouTube monetization game over there on the YouTube website. So yes, just letting you know, not trying to rip off the Karate Kid every single week. Once a year during the Halloween area time of year, yes, but not so much now. Anyhow, enough about that. I'm Jorge. This is JT, and welcome to the Fantasy and Frame Sunday pregame show. JT, man, how are you doing? I know you're a Colts fan. You are glued to your TV on your other monitor, right?
Yep, I got it all set up again here. I really debated hard going to this game in Germany. I wanted to get tickets.
Oh, wow.
This time of the year. Actually, the couple that sits in front of me that has season tickets at Colts games, they actually bought tickets, went to Germany, or at the game today. Super freaking jealous. I wanted to go bad. But this time of year is so hard for me because my son's got football. I'm the flag football coach. This was our final week of the regular season. Our playoffs are next week. So I was like, oh, man, if we leave right now, then somebody else has got to try to coach and playoffs, everything else. And then my girlfriend's daughter also does gymnastics right now. So it's just like we've got a bunch going on. I was like, oh, I would love to go, but this is terrible. If it was another week down the road or so, or 2 weeks, I probably could have made it work. But yeah, I'm going to watch the game. I've been up since freaking, I don't even know. I think I got up at 5 a.m. this morning for no good reason. It's been, I just did. So I've been up doing stuff, messing with lineups and kind of going through a bunch of rankings and other things. So, but fired up for today. It's a crazy Sunday, starting off with the Colts early in the morning. And then my other team, the Steelers, playing the late game against the Chargers. So it's going to be a good day.
Before we get to the other comments, let's answer Super CN Challenger 1927's question over on YouTube. Start Fannin, Pitts, or Loveland today. I love Kyle Pitts. He has been on a tear lately. I believe he's second on the team in target share for the Atlanta Falcons. So you have about a few minutes left before kickoff. So
yeah, I got about 10, 15. I agree with you. I would go Pitts. I like Loveland. Obviously, hard not to play with the awesome game he had. The weather here in Illinois is terrible. I'm telling you that right now. It's real bad. It started getting real cold last night. It might snow in Chicago today. It's supposed to be insanely windy. I'm real nervous about all my Bears offensive players. I don't mind snow so much, but the wind is a killer on the passing game. Fannin, I like him. I'm playing him a few spots, but if I had to pick a guy today, I think Pitts has the highest upside just with the weather and everything else going on.
And if memory serves me correctly, he is questionable, Fannin, that is, today. So if he doesn't go, obviously that's a big...
I think he is. I think you're correct.
So we need to monitor that. So, yeah, Loveland, Rhett Manuel, who's the host of Fourth and Frames on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. He also does our plays and fades for the rest of the season over at fantasyandframes.com, which you should definitely check out, as well as if you play IDP Fantasy Football or IDP Plays and Fades by Joe Harlow over at fantasyandframes.com. He was very, very adamant. Yes, Colson Loveland did a great job last week, had that big, reception against the Bengals that kind of just elevated him to a whole other stratosphere. I'm with him, Rhett Manuel, that is, when he said, let's see it again. Let's not put all our eggs in one basket after 1 week's performance. Kyle Pitts, you've seen more consistency the past few weeks, so I would recommend Kyle Pitts, and so would JT here. We got a couple of people in the chat. Good morning. Let's see. We got Moggs. What's going on, Moggs? Welcome. Good morning. K-Space 91. You know what? We had a little wager going on last week. What was it? Trevor Lawrence versus Jacoby Brissett. Who would outscore who? 2.5 points. That's what separated us there, JT. And K-Space 91 came out on top there with Jacoby Brissett. So you, sir, got some swag coming your way. And yeah, so congratulations on the victory. We got Jelly we have she has a question here. We got full PPR, Romeo Doubs, Aaron Jones. It's Doubs for me. This backfield for the Minnesota Vikings, what do you make of it? Is it Jordan Mason? Is it Aaron Jones? I mean, if you were going to ask me it was Mason or Jones, I would say Jones because of him in the receiving game in a PPR. But given what's going on, It's Romeo Dubs. What about you, JT?
Yeah, I'm done. Same, every reason you just said.
Okay. See if I'm missing anything. Apologies if we're missing something. Here we go. Ryan, good morning. Hubbard or Travion Henderson in the flex. Also, Keenan Allen or Jordan Addison at wide receiver. Standard league. Yes, we're still alive, folks. Good thing Nate's not here, else he'll be shaming me for being a standard league homer. I would go Travion Henderson. We saw Rico Dowdle kind of take over that backfield. After they said the coaching staff said last week he's going to get a majority of the touches. He was going to be the starting running back. I know you're looking for a flex option here, but Travion Henderson, are we buying into Jennings? Ramondre Stevens is out. I want to say Travion got you close to double digits or just over double digits fantasy points in half and as well as full PPR. So give me the Travion dip, understanding you're getting flex value, not RB1, not RB2, but you're getting flex value there. JT, where do you stand on this running back question?
Yeah, I'm going Henderson. Same thing with Hubbard. Possibly could get some run. We're just not sure. I think Henderson's the way to go. I'm probably, that's a tough one at wide receiver being standard. In a PPR, I'm taking Allen 100% on that. But in standard, Addison might have the bigger chance to get a big play for a score. That's a toughie for me. I probably lean a little bit Allen, but I wouldn't hate the Addison play there just because of the non-PPR factor. He's a bigger play guy.
Right. So I'm with you. I would go Addison. We look at the yards per target for the Minnesota Vikings. I mean, he leads, 10.5 yards per target in terms of targets and yardage down the field for the Minnesota Vikings. And again, we're talking about a standard league, so we're looking at yards and touchdowns, not necessarily the receptions. So not to mention there are fewer mouths to feed in Minnesota with Justin Jefferson being the primary other one. TJ Hawkinson got into the end zone once, but he was also targeted three times max last week. So not afraid of Jordan Addison. So thank you, Ryan. Sorry we took us a minute to get to your question. Everybody, please. We appreciate you. Let's see here. We got Jelly of the Month, 231. What's going on, Jelly? Have to drop a guy for a legal lineup. Pollard. I just combined Tez and Pollard. Tez, Pollard, or Parker Washington. So I would not drop, believe it or not, Pollard, even though Tajay Spears is getting the bulk of the workload here. Or at least he's starting to trend in that direction. Parker Washington for this matchup this week, I think even though it's against a tough opponent, I think they have he is the target. He is the lone target there with no Brian Thomas, no Travis Hunter. We saw him kind of come into his own last week as a good flex option. So for me, it's Tez. What are your thoughts here, JT?
I'm Tez. Pollard, it's a running back thing. I know he hasn't been getting a lot of work, but you just can't, at this point in the season with injuries, everything else, you can't be dropping running backs like that. You just got to hold them just in case. I think Parker Washington, with everything that's going on, I would keep Parker over Tez, especially this week with no Brian Thomas.
Exactly. So thank you very much, Jelly, for the question. Got Chris Battersill in the chat reposting the stream on X. We really appreciate it. Thank you, Chris. Always a good member of the fantasy.
Chris, congratulations. Family. He's been
killing
in a bunch of our college football leagues, smashing it, making the finals and the playoffs in a couple leagues. So me and Chris are in quite a few together. He's got me in most of my thing. I think there's maybe one or two up ahead of him, but I think he's got me in most of them. I was just looking through all my college football rosters today because last week of the regular season was this past weekend, and I'm like, right there, I either just missed the playoffs. I'm like 6-5, made the playoffs, or 5-6 and missed by like a couple points for overall points to get in. So I didn't do the total math. I think I'm about half and half with if I made the playoffs and not on my college one. So yay! If you haven't played college football, go play fantasy college football next year. Jump in, do it on Fantrax. It's fantastic.
Not to mention, he is the fourth seed in the Kings Classic College tournament set up by John Lobb over there. For the Kings Classic. So congrats, Chris. K-Space says, he says 2-something points like Brissett didn't play a completely better game. Look, I'm not saying that he didn't. I agree with you. Brissett did play a better game. But at the end of the day, we were talking fantasy points, not efficiency metrics and passing yards and touchdowns and yada yada. We're talking about fantasy points, so that's where I'm going with it. But you are right; he did play, referring to Brissett, a better game. Mr. Scamper's in the chat. Nothing better to wake up to than Joe Esposito. Good morning, boys and girls. I thought you were going to say fantasy and frames there, Mr. Scamper's. That kind of, but I get it. I mean, pecking order. I respect that. The court case space, I swear to God, he says, I had a feeling you would bring up the point difference, but the play difference is blatant. Yes, I'm not disagreeing with you.
He's correct. Hey, real quick before we get in, there's a couple more questions here popping up. Before we get into, I got a question for you, Jorge, because this is a big decision for me in multiple leagues. Are you going T-Law against Houston today with no Brian Thomas, or would you chance it and go Tua against the Bills? I've got a bunch of leagues where I have both those guys, and they're not great matchups, either one going against the Bills and Houston. I am like debating hard which guy do I put into that super flex spot in a few of my leagues. What you got to lean either way?
I do, and I want to be consistent. I am scared to death of anybody going against the Houston Texans. So I have Tua as my QB 22, and I have T-Law at 26. So,
because usually I'm going T-Law all the time, but I have to tell you, I am nervous that game is going to be a shit show. That it's literally going to be like we're going to get a 9-3, 9-6 field goal fest. Is what I feel like we're getting in that game. So I'm playing IDP players, but man, I really am nervous about T-Law, and then I just feel like every once in a while, Tua puts it together against the Bills. So I was like, I'm kind of leaning Tua. So I needed you to back that up for me. So I appreciate it. I'm going to make a couple changes in my lineup.
So, for example, on average per game, these are both craptacular matchups, first of all. But the Texans are first in fewest fantasy points allowed per game with an average of 12.6. The Bills are third with 14.1. So, I mean, there's a reason why I have them ranked so low. Mr. Scampers says, of course, FIF. I'm just checking, Mr. Scampers. I'm sorry. Let's see here. We got here Super C and Challenger with Super C and B Challenger 1927. We got to work on like the shorter names, folks. I'm sorry. I'm just kidding. Love the name. Is that Challenger? Is that a reference to the car or something? Whatever. Thank you all so much. One more. Start Tet, Rashad White, Romeo Dobbs, and my flex. Tet, there was a concern about a hamstring injury, but it looks like he is good to go for today. Rashad White versus New England, and then Romeo Dobbs and his flex. Let's start with you. What are your thoughts here, JT?
Sorry about that. I was making my change. Where are we at? We got Tet, Rashad White. This one's a toughie. I usually would go Tet, but he's dealing with a little bit of a hamstring that popped up. Now, I'm hearing that he says he's going to play and he's good to go, but I feel like I say this every time that we do this show. Anytime someone gets a hamstring, I'm worried because it doesn't take anything to re-injure those. So those always make me real nervous. Typically, I would go Tet. I think I'm going Dubs here. Today. That's a Monday night game. He's been hot. I am a Rashad White hater, so I don't play Rashad White unless I absolutely have to. I just don't love him. And the Patriots have been fantastic against the run. So I'm going Dubs here.
I will not put what Mr. Scampers put in the chat, but yes, hopefully it is not that reference because that would be god awful. Jelly of the month with another one. He says K. Dotton over Loveland due to weather / commit, or will there be quicker passes in a PPR? I agree. I do not like the weather. I think the passing game is going to be, obviously it's going to be affected. We saw 20-mile-per-hour winds expected in Chicago. So kickers, quarterbacks, that is a concern. And not to mention the who's catching the ball in Tampa Bay. I think for the tight end upside, you go with Otten here in this situation there.
I totally agree. Otten for me. I'm playing both of them in some spots, but if I'm between those two, which I am in a couple leagues, I'm playing Otten over Loveland.
You got Charlene in the chat. Good morning to you. Got the West Coast peeps here, and we got a Midwest peep coming back on the show. What's up, Nate?
Hey guys, give me 1 second. Let me.
Yeah, do your thing. I'll think. You want to take it back off screen or?
Yeah, just for 1 second.
Yeah, you're good. All right, so now we got the next question. We got Philip. What's up, Philip? Always a great supporter here at Fantasy and Friends. We love you, Philip. Thank you. Good morning, Brissett or Mariota? It's Brissett. Where's K-Space at? Come on, you want to be like, that's right, because Brissett is my boy. Look, he's just playing really, really good. We look at so my rankings. I have him at QB 19, and to be honest with you, as the morning goes on, and the more we're probably going to get Brissett questions, the more I'm going to be like, I need to move him up to like at least 15. Like he's just a really good, efficient quarterback. We see him kind of take the ball in the red zone into the end zone, I should say. So I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Let's go Jelly of the Month. Last one, Vidal off a dud or Woody Marks in PPR. So you and I and Steve Huntgardner on Shoot the Gap were talking about how the Steelers have actually been getting better along their respective lines. And then Nate, when he hops on here, he'll talk about what Kyle is saying on Fourth and Frames, how this could be a tough matchup for Kamani Vidal. So for a PPR, I would go Woody Marks in this situation. What about you, JT?
I'm a Woody guy. I actually just had this conversation with my cousin, not just before I jumped on the show. He asked me Woody Marks or Tyrone Tracy in a matchup, and I was like, "Ooh, that's pretty close." He says his league's he gets bonuses for running back catches. I think this offense is going to be horrible, but I think there's a chance that Woody gets a decent amount of touches, especially in the pass game, because I think they're just going to have to dump off the ball left and right. I'm leaning Woody here. I would play Marks. I don't think it's going to be pretty, but I think he has a chance to get quite a few touches. Even if he doesn't get a lot in the running game, I still think he'll get about 10 touches plus dump off. I think the ceiling is not good, but the floor, I think he has a shot to get you close to double digits, maybe 5 to 10 points. So I'm going Woody. I think they're going to have to dump the ball off a lot. I think he's going to be the beneficiary of that.
All right, Nate, why don't you take the reins here, and we'll get to our next question.
Yeah,
Ryan.
good morning. Yeah, good morning to both of you two, first and foremost. Sorry for the late start, but better late than never, as probably no one has really actually said, but still. Ryan, good morning. Dalton Schultz, David Njoku, standard league. JT, we just talked about the Houston game. Is there enough offense? I mean, granted, it's weird to say, but on top of the potential Woody Marks volume, is Dalton Schultz matchup wise against Jacksonville or David Njoku? Can anybody in Cleveland get anything established with a Gabriel?
I would jump Njoku here. I just, again, Schultz chance. I just think that game's going to be ugly. Cleveland, they got a decent matchup here. With the points that they've been giving up, Jets been giving up, I think Njoku has a chance to eat a little bit here. So for me, I'm going the higher upside in Njoku. I'm going to be surprised if the Texans, even though they're going against a not great defense, I don't trust this offense with Mills.
That's the crazy thing. That's what I'm looking at, and it's like, man, do you trust Davis Mills against a team over the last month that's allowed the most points to the tight end position against a tight end who's going against a defense that's allowed the sixth or seventh, I guess eighth fewest? That's a trust factor, and I don't know if I trust Davis Mills. Shockingly, but then again, it's Dylan Gabriel. Would you rather have a punch in the stomach or a punch in the face? What do you want? Choose your destiny.
I can't.
I mean, if Mills can get the ball off, I think Schultz and Marks are the two guys that have the most upside as far as in a PPR getting catches. In a non-PPR, I just think Njoku has a better chance to score for you. That's why I'm going Njoku there. I don't like this Houston team to score today. I know the Jags have sucked. I know their defense has not been good, but man, the O-line has not been good for the Texans. Mills is even less mobile than CJ Stroud, and CJ Stroud's been getting murdered this year. I don't feel good about Mills at all having any time today. I oh man, like I said, I'm on IDP guys, especially defensive ends in this game. I want all the DNs on both sides in this game, but I don't want anybody else. I'm probably taking kickers in the under in all my betting scenarios today.
Yep.
Nice. All right, Charlene's got a question. May or Hurts today? Great, or this weekend rather. Hurts plays tomorrow night versus Green Bay. Let me see where I have them ranked so I can just be consistent here.
Yeah. I'm going Drake May, personally. I don't think there's too many scenarios where I haven't been.
Yeah, he's my 4.
Yeah, and you know, many people look at Tampa and the blitz rate and the defense, and yet that's another area where Drake May's excelled. He's just been a stable part no matter what type of defense he's faced, which I'll admit I'm not surprised by that per se, but I didn't expect it all to come together so fast. I thought there would be one wart that we could expose weekly, like he's not great against real high heavy zone teams or whatever the scenario might have been, none of which has seemed to falter. And so it's close. I will say that it's sometimes it's more fun to have the Monday night game than it is a Sunday noon game. If you're that type of player, Charlene, where you just want some action on Monday night, the degenerate that's in all of us, mostly the 3 of us, but is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Oh, sure. All right, good stuff. Dustin, welcome to the show. What's up, fellas? Pick one: Fannin, Otten, Juwan, or Loveland. Go Colts. All right, JT, you got I would go Juwan Jennings here, just because of the inexperience of Tyler Shuck, and not to mention Colston Loveland, like Rhett was saying with you guys, Nate, on 4th and frames. Like, it's one thing to have a really explosive week. It's another thing for consistency and needing to see more. This defense for New England is pretty stout. I like them. And then Fannin, he's dealing with that injury. We don't know whether or not he is going to play, whether whether Njoku is going to eat into his time, into what you were saying as far as Dylan Gabriel being that punch to the face. That is, nobody likes getting punched in the face. So give me Jennings. What about you guys?
Hey, Jorge, I just saw Dustin popped in the chat and he said, actually, that's Jawan Johnson, not Jawan Jennings for the Niners. That's Jawan.
That's what I was. That's what I thought he meant.
Yeah. Okay, you had it. Okay, I just wanted to make sure
right.
you said, because you said I just wanted to make sure everybody was aware on that, because I just saw it. I was like, because I originally looked at it, I was like, does he mean Jawan Jennings, the actual whiteout, or does he mean Jawan Johnson, the tight end? So I just wanted to clear that up.
That's exactly. I see Jennings there, but my mind was Jawan Johnson, so that's where I'm still going. Nate, what about you? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I don't love Tyler Shuck, but I still lean towards just consolidated targets, and I think the most consolidated opportunity is probably to Jawan Johnson for myself. It might not be great, but at some point we're looking for volume, and at the tight end position, honestly, that's pretty much all you can bank on. Is if you get the target share, you get 20+% target share, you should be a tight end 1 on the week. And I know people would rather shoot for upside, but I don't think there's much more upside for any of the 4 by comparison, at least.
All right. We'll get David in the screen here. David, what's going on this morning?
Morning, fellas. Got bright and early for this. I'm in Hawaii at the moment, so it's 4:30 in the morning.
Wow.
It's brutal. That's all right.
Look at you, the dedication. Literally,
America needs to hear my opinion on pretend football players. Jorge, that's why I got it.
That is awesome. Well, then let's get your opinion on this one, shall we? Non-PPR, Kamani Vidal or David Montgomery?
Oh, it's Vidal. It's got to be Vidal. I mean, you talk about the number 1 guy versus the goal line back. So, Vidal, I'm expecting to get back on track with 18+ carries.
What about you, Nate?
And Dave touched on a point that is really important to me when it comes to non-PPRs, the goal line back scenario. And that's a risky proposition, because I would rather have the guaranteed volume, because I wasn't impressed with it all last week. I mean, talk about a shit in the bed situation of ideal opportunity. But Boy, that's it. That's a really close one because it is. I want to believe that Vidal can get going back, but I heard what you guys. Well, I jumped right in when you guys were talking about Kamani Vidal, and maybe circle back to that conversation you and JT were just having about Vidal, because I don't know. I didn't hear it, but I want to hear your take on.
Well, we were just saying,
I don't love Vidal. Just with the way the Steelers are playing better on defense, especially against the run. They played really well against JT last week. Monty is really hit and miss right now, but I still like Monty. I still think they're gonna get him some touches, and against the Commanders. So I'm going Monty here. I understand the volume is probably leans towards Vidal, but in a non PPR. I'm going Monty. I just trust Monty in the Lions offense more. That for me is why I'm going there.
I'll add one piece that pushes me towards the Montgomery side. And Dave, maybe I can get you on board with me. No Joe Alt. Not that one person, but when you add that he was probably the final piece that could hold everything together. And I don't know if there's any offensive line that has taken more brutal hit this year than the Chargers.
Oh, absolutely. I think Herbert's getting sacked like 3 to 4 times a game minimum. I think one more time was 6. It's tough, and without Alt now, I mean, it's going to get worse. I mean, to be honest, it's a concern for the Chargers offense as a whole. Now Herbert doesn't have as much time to throw in the pocket, so I am concerned about Keenan Allen. I am concerned about Quinton Johnson. I mean, obviously McConkey and what have you, but. Look, here's the thing with Vidal. Who else is there? You got Haskins on IR.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Hampton on IR. I mean, who's the backup right now in Los Angeles?
Jarrett Patterson.
Yeah,
I mean, exactly. Come on, they've got no other option. I mean, especially if they get a lead today, I expect them to run the ball, and I think Vidal's he's gonna give you serviceable numbers. Monty, you just don't know. I mean. He's a go off for 110 yards and 3 touchdowns, or 8 carries for 20 yards kind of guy.
I wanted to look at the red zone numbers here over the course of the season for both Gibbs and Montgomery. I mean, Montgomery does have more attempts within the 5-yard line, and although you have 10 attempts to Gibbs' 6, both have 3 touchdowns, so. That tells me whichever running back gets into a goal-to-go situation that that offensive line is going to pave the way. Given the over/under for the Washington-Detroit game and just how I see this is going to be a completely one-sided affair, I would chase the points here with Montgomery in that situation. All right, let's get into Michael's question. Full PPR, Woody Marks, or I'm assuming that's Parker Washington.
Yeah, I would imagine. I don't know too many other.
Yeah, Fast Willie Parker. We're going back in time for the
Steelers.
Yep.
Fast Willie, baby.
Devontae Parker, guys. That's who it is.
Yeah.
Wow. There you go. That's a good pull.
Then the answer is not Devontae Parker.
Yeah.
Anybody but I probably would have started Devontae Parker over Woody Marks, but I may actually lean Parker Washington. I realize that I expect to see a ton of questions at some point about Jacoby Myers and his involvement in that offense. And while I do think it's going to escalate over the next couple of weeks, and I think it seems like a really nice safety valve and a good pairing for, Trevor to have a person who's actually got good hands to trust in, I think Parker Washington could start this week before he starts seeding targets a little bit more so. So I'm going to take Parker Washington myself. What do you guys got?
Yeah, I mean, you got to chase the volume here, right? The target volume. Although this, like I was saying, excuse me, before you jumped on, like I am scared to death of any teams taking on the Houston Texans. You know what I mean? Their defense is just locked down. But for Woody Marks, I see a situation where, he is the type of player who I am more confident in if it's a matchup that favors the other team, not the Texans, because then you at least know that he's going to get the PPR, upside with all the receptions in the game script that goes along with that. But As far as the target volume, to what you were saying, as far as Jacoby Myers acquisition or trade, I guess that's both accurate. That's Parker Washington for me.
Yeah, it's got to be Parker, because I mean, the one thing I'd say about Marks as well is the goal line work is going to Chubb sometimes. So you will lose some of that too. So I think the upside with Parker is there.
All right, let's go to Mr. Scampers. Half PPR, Vidal or Monangai. It's Monangai for me, especially with how crappy this weather situation is going to be in Chicago. Just give me, DeAndre Swift is, I believe, questionable still. I haven't seen a report if he is still in.
It looks like he's gonna play, but I would definitely think the weather and everything else. Monangai, with the way he's played, is gonna see a good amount of carries, even if Swift is back. I'm Monangai.
What about you, Nate?
Yeah, I was waiting to see those two factors, weather and DeAndre Swift's involvement. Maybe not exclusively together, because I moved Monangai down just a bit on Friday because I expected the Bears to do something stupid and put DeAndre Swift in a much more heavier, in a heavier role than what he should be in, because Monangai should be the guy. And I still lean that direction, especially for everything you guys just said.
All right. JJ Winners in the chat. Guten Morgen. I know I just completely did not do that with the right accent. Go Jets. Go Jets into full tank mode, but also getting a great haul in draft pick mode. Yeah, 100% agree. Did you guys like the compensation the Jets got for all these, the Quentin Williams, the Sauce Gardner trade?
It's good comp, but here's the thing. You can't play for picks. Picks aren't going to win Super Bowls, It'll help them, I get it, but I don't like the narrative of give up on the season for potential picks, I mean, who knows where they're going to be? I mean, you assume they're going to be in the top 2, 3, 4 next year. Who's the top prospect next year?
It's the two they got in 27 that I like better than next year's. So they actually expanded next year and to the end of 27 too. But you're right. I typically hate tanking, but if you're going, the adage of if they were to lose either one of those players at some point in the next 2 years and they're not competitive yet, to get something is better than nothing. I still agree with you, Dave. I hate the just getting rid of everybody, but I hate it a lot more whenever they trade someone of Sauce Gardner or Quentin Williams caliber, and they get a second and a second the next year by some team like the Eagles that fleece them, and then I'm doubly pissed off because both teams, one team win, at least both teams win in this scenario, kind of.
I thought it was a good move. Jets are a mess. They're a mess. They know they're not winning with Justin Fields right now. I mean, they keep trying to bench him. At this point, I think they should load up in 26 with defensive guys, get younger, and then 27 is going to have a really nice offensive class. I know they think they're going to go all offense. We'll see. I would go defense because I really like the defense coming out in this next class. I would go heavy defense in 26 and then try to pile on offensive guys in 27. To me, the Jets have been a disaster forever. It's time to try something new. You might as well just clean house. I mean, we've seen it. They've had great defenses for last 3, 4, 5 years, and they still can't do anything. So time to try something new. So I don't mind moving guys, going, hey, we're a couple years away. Let's move some of these guys before they get too old or too expensive. And then, let's try something new. They'll probably screw it up, but hey, you got to keep trying, right? Just like in fantasy. Got to keep moving picks, moving players, got to keep try something new.
I would say way to be positive, but given the track history.
Try to be positive, but yeah, it's tough. It, of course, as the Colts just march all the way down the field, and then on 3rd and 2, they throw it down to Mo Alley Cox on a 25-yard pass for no good reason when JT would have got the first down on the run and then missed it on 4th down. Just keep people updated. Falcons ball, first quarter. No score.
Charlene in the chat, Caleb or Baker? For me, it's kind of this is Baker, right? Going around the frames.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay.
Yep.
All right, we got Evan in the chat. Need flex, half PPR, gross choices here. Well, those are the best kind. Jerry Judy, gross. Mark Andrews, gross. Bam Knight, gross. Or Amari DeMarcado, equally gross. Wow, you are not wrong. These are all gross options.
But they're options.
They are options, and we got to roll with them. So I like number one. The defense just got a lot. I almost said de-improved. Wow, they just got a lot worse this past week, both at corner and up front in the middle of the defense, which I think is going to give more time for Gabriel to throw the ball and not have to worry about Jerry Jeudy potentially maybe locking up with Sauce Gardner. So yeah, give me Jerry Jeudy here.
Dude, why are people trying to make Bam Knight a thing? He's not a thing. It's like forcing peas into your vegetables, like with your dinner. I don't want it. Like, Bam Knight was never been effective. He's never been a stud. He's had chances at being a number one running back. He's failed. Like, I don't know why people just keep going for him. I'd rather DeMarcado out of those two. I think DeMarcado definitely looks more explosive from what we've seen so far. I understand he had that drop on the goal line. I get it. Things happen. But as far as talent wise, DeMarcado is better. But I out of these ones, I would go Mark Andrews. I mean, he scored 2 touchdowns last week. He's a red zone guy. You got Jackson back, so I'm going to risk it with Andrews.
And to answer,
I'm going with him. I'm on Andrews. I think they're going to work Andrews back in now that Lamar's back in. Like the touchdowns, only 2 catches, but 2 touchdowns. I think Bam and DeMarcado is going to split carries. I don't like that at all. And Judy. It's hard for me to go anyone on Cleveland that isn't Judkins or one of the tight ends. So I'm Mark Andrews here.
Nate?
Yeah, Dave, to answer your question about why Bam Knight's a thing, it was the tweet from 3 weekends ago, the Sunday morning. Was it Schefter or
one of them.
Whenever he said, and everybody gravitates and thought that was an anointment of, I guess, good starter. I think I'm going to lean DeMarcado as well. Andrews would be a close second. I still worry. I hope they get Andrews more involved because the amount of time on the field, the snap percentage versus the actual production typically isn't as sticky as it should be. I mean, Andrews is kind of an anomaly. But yeah, I would go DeMarcado than Andrews. And Jerry Jeudy's intriguing going forward if they ever can get anything active, because I think 2 weeks ago I was looking at a trend that I think he's ran the second most routes in the NFL. Like all these hyperbole numbers that should equate to value, but unfortunately it's the Cleveland Browns and Dylan Gabriel. So yeah, I'll go DeMarcado.
First person in the chat to post it and write it correctly will get a keychain and a Fantasy and Frames koozie. What is Bam Knight's real first name? Nobody on screen say anything. And go. Ben Hartley, 2280 in the chat. With injuries and buys, there are a couple spots that have to start both Detroit running backs and both Chicago running backs, but this might I think this is I like Detroit's matchup a lot better than Chicago's with Swift being potentially injured here.
Yeah, and of course pay attention to that, Ben. If Swift is out, I wouldn't pivot to like with excitement to any of the other pieces in that offense, but I'm guessing there might not be many others out there. I wonder who's all in the waivers just in case. I think Swift is going to play though, right? That's what everybody else has heard.
So far, I have not gotten
expected as of 12 hours ago. So
that's why I worry about
JT touchdown
this week.
Colts. Woo!
Right. There we go.
Just had to throw that in there.
That's what I worry about Monangai this week. It's not that he's not talented, not good, but I just don't know if I have a feeling they're just going to do the stupid thing and force feed DeAndre Swift.
That's one of my concerns.
So Charlene technically was the first person to answer correctly, is Zonovan Knight, but you already have a Fantasy and Frames care package coming your way, so we're going to go with number 2. So Evan Gittleman 7371, congratulations, you got yourself a keychain and a koozie. If you are on Twitter, hit us up at Fantasy and Frames. DM us. Give me your mailing address, and I'll send one out this week for you. Yeah, that was fun. All right. Let's go to Nate. You want to take this one while I just step out for a second?
Yeah, absolutely. Juan, good morning.
Do you know what Dante Hightower's real name is?
Deonta Hightower?
Quaylen.
Yeah, well, there we go.
Weird, right?
Yeah.
Didn't pick it. Anyway. Continue.
Oh, gotcha. No, that's a perfect segue to Juan Pena's question. Good morning, Juan, by the way. Who for his wide receiver 2, the 3, and a flex spot? So let's start with the wide receiver 2 and 3 between Jordan Addison, Deebo Samuel, Quentin Johnson, Tez Johnson, Jacoby Myers, Pop Douglas, Parker Washington. JT, give me one of those for sure that's going to be in one of your wide receiver spots.
Man, looking at that group, I'm probably going Jordan Addison. Out of that group, he would probably be my number 1 of that group. A lot of those guys are real close, but I'm probably leaning Addison.
They're all so close. Dave, give me one for sure for you.
Addison is definitely the for sure. The others are a little bit up in the air. I would probably go Charbonnet for my flex.
Just
because he's got a wide receiver 2, 3, and a flex, right?
Right. I was going to look at the wide receivers first, and then
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, the wide receiver. Yeah, so Addison is a for sure. I don't know what we have in Jacoby Myers yet. It's not worth the risk. I'm going to go with Quentin Johnson as my number 3. Yeah, he's still the deep guy for Justin Herbert, and it's your 3. So,
if there's and I think as the 3, if you're looking for true upside, matchup wise, the Steelers have been as good of an option as it comes against the wide receiver. And while I don't love Quentin Johnson because the chance that someone on that Chargers team is going to blow up against the Steelers as far as passing, maybe 2 people will, but will there be 3? And I don't know where he lines up. JT, is there one of those receivers? Are you on board with Quentin Johnson as the second option?
Yeah, I think I'm going Addison then Johnson. Deebo would be my 3rd. I've got a couple spots. I would even be pressing Washington, but the problem for me with Washington this week is I just hate this freaking matchup. Like I said, I'm going to say it all morning. Anytime anybody asks me about any Houston player or any Jacksonville player, I'm just going to tell you I hate this freaking matchup for anybody on offense. So if I have an option, I'm not even playing some of these guys because I don't have options. If I have an option, I'm avoiding this game at all costs. So I'm going Addison, Johnson, and then Deebo would be my 3rd guy in that group. If you were taking it, Deebo would be my 3rd guy. Flex spot, though, if we want to get into it, I would very consider playing Henderson over Deebo in the flex spot for me.
Yeah, Dave, you were saying Charbonnet. Charbonnet you have over Henderson and DeMarcado and the other wide receivers as your flex?
Yeah, I just think Charbonnet's got more in him. I mean, Henderson had the chance to be the 1 last week. He did okay. I mean, that was his time to shine. Patriots were still leading as well, so it was a close game nonetheless. He should have put up better numbers. I think I'm giving up on Henderson now. I'm officially out on him. So Charbonnet's the guy.
Yeah, it's tricky because I want to go back to the well just because of the volume. I mean, you get almost 20 touches. That's what you want out of your flex spot is 20 touches for the quote unquote explosive player. I'll probably lean one more week towards Henderson myself, but I could make the case that if it was Deebo or Charbonnet, all 3 I don't think are too far separated from one another. But when you have Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams as your baseline, that's a good one. So good luck this week, Juan. Michael was starting Mason Taylor last week, benched him, and started Colson Loveland, smashed it. Do have Brenton Strange stashed on my IR, which is good. He's thinking of dropping Mason Taylor and stashing another running back like Nick Chubb. He has Woody Marks, or would you look at Tank Bigsby? So I guess what you're asking is, would you drop Mason Taylor right now when you have Colson Loveland filling in, at least for right now. Would you drop the depth of tight end in Mason Taylor, knowing that you have Brenton Strange, for someone like Nick Chubb or Tank Bigsby? Dave, would you drop Taylor for Chubb or Bigsby?
I mean, it's not really going to benefit you too much either way. If you need running backs, yeah, I would. I don't think losing Mason Taylor, if this is redraft, probably would. Dynasty, maybe not.
JT, you have any strong opinions on
this?
this?
If you have to get a guy, if you have to have a running back, I would probably make the move to get Chubb. I like Woody, but I love Mason Taylor. I think he's going to continue to be part of this offense for the Jets. I like him. I'm keeping him. And if it was me, I would be playing Mason Taylor over Loveland this week. So if I had him, I would keep Mason Taylor, and I would play Mason Taylor over Loveland personally.
Well, there you go. So you have some options there, Michael. Good luck this week. Hopefully, whichever decision you go with is the successful and accurate one. And then Frizzle has a question. Hey, fellas, how's it going? All right, would you guys start Woody Marks or Christian Watson in the flex half-point PPR? Christian Watson does look like he got the full go to play while he did carry an injury tag this week. Does that give you concern in a pretty crowded Green Bay room, or do you trust Woody Marks on an offense that I don't think any of us can actually use the word trust? Like, what do you say, Dave? It's like trusting a fart after a Taco Bell.
Trusting an old man with a fart while wearing white pants.
Oh, gotcha.
Another
good one. Which I'm getting close to old man status. I think collectively the three of us we're closer to not trusting a fart than we are trusting one, I think, in our age.
You've got to watch it now. We're at the age where you've got to be careful. You can't just let it rip,
I know.
So,
I'm also at the age where I can just leave whatever I'm doing and be like, well, guess I'm done with whatever I'm doing for the day. Not at a club. JT,
we just got our first vulture touchdown of the day. Tyler Algier punching it in for the Falcons instead of Bijan Robinson, so everyone mad there. Falcons kick the extra point. They're up 7-6 after the Colts missed the extra point following the JT touchdown. So 7-6 Falcons, no Bijan touchdown, which would have helped me a ton to have a Bijan and JT touchdown to start off the day. Would have been phenomenal.
Yes, that would be a good start to the day. But not having an answer for this is not helping Brazil start their day. So is it Woody Marks or Christian Watson?
Oh, this one's tough because I actually do like Woody, and I'm not a Christian Watson fan at all. But like I said, I hate this freaking matchup. Oh, man. I think I'm going Woody. But it's I can see you playing Christian Watson. I have the same thing in a league. I have flex. I got Woody and Christian Watson. I'm playing Woody, just hoping and praying. If you got bigger points for long plays or a big play, then I would go Christian Watson just because I think he has a chance to maybe get a long catch. But I'm hoping Woody gets like 8 dump off passes today. He has like 8 catches for like 25 yards and gets me 10 points somehow.
That's the saving grace for me. Dave, are you leaning heavy either direction?
I'm not heavy, but I would lean Watson just for the upside. I think Woody's going to have a safe floor if that's what you're looking for. If you're looking to just add 8 to 10 points, Woody's your guy. If you need upside, you need the points. Because this is a stage in the season where it's not just about record. It's also about how many points you have. Sometimes there's a difference of making playoffs or not. So just keep that in mind. So sometimes, if Watson goes off and has, $180 and 3 touchdowns, that's huge. You're not going to get that out of Woody.
You're not going to get that out of Christian Watson. But I know what you're saying. The likelihood is still there, I guess. I
totally agree with Dave. If you're trying to make up points in a league, if you're in a points league or you're in a league where you're like me in a bunch of leagues where I'm like 5-6 or like 4-5, 5-4, and I'm like trying to fight for that 6th playoff spot, which is overall points, I'm probably playing Watson just for the high upside that maybe he catches a big one, gets a long touchdown or something. If I'm like leading and I'm just trying to hold my lead in points, then I'm probably playing Woody because I know he's going to get me something. I don't expect it to be a lot, but I know he's going to get me something where Christian Watson could potentially get me a 0. So I agree with Dave on that.
Charlene needs a full PPR flex. Kendrick Bourne, Jordan Mason. Question, is Aaron Jones playing? The answer as of late last night, early this morning is more of a game time from what I've seen. Let me see if there's any updates to that, because obviously that has huge implications on Jordan Mason without Aaron Jones is one of my, I would say not smash plays, but considering where I had him ranked prior to Wednesday, when that really questionable tag was even inflated, when that the injury that he suffered last week against the Bears was brought to light that it could carry over into this week. I see that it's still questionable. That being said, does that skew you guys to Kendrick Bourne or you, JT, or are you still?
I'm probably going Mason. I know it's been tough with that backfield, but I think Minnesota wants to try to run the ball and kind of not put everything on JJ. I would probably go Mason. I just don't love. I mean, Kendrick Bourne's all right. I just don't know what I'm going to get out of him. I'd probably go in Mason. Because here's the thing, I think Mason could sneak you a touchdown, even. You know what I mean? Near the goal line, something. I would probably lean Mason, though. I know that's a pretty brutal call between those two right now.
No, I would go Mason as well. But would you trade? All right, you're in second place. Hypothetical, this JT. You're in second place at the moment, and you need a running back really bad. You have the opportunity to trade your 2026 first for Josh Jacobs. I know your opinion of the 26 versus 27 draft. Does that carry over like it would for me? I would probably trade my 26 first for Josh Jacobs.
Absolutely. 27 first, I would be like, I'd be really hesitant to move my 27 first. But 26 first, I will tell you right now, I have hammered a lot of my 26 first. I've traded a ton away. If I'm in a league where I'm like contending right now, I'm moving those 26 first. If I'm going to get a guy like Jacobs, who's a clear-cut guy I can play every week, and at a running back spot, which is hard to get. Exactly. So,
he's
like,
27
I
years
think
old.
That's what I'm saying. If you're remotely in it, if you're in top 3, I think you hammer that trade. I absolutely do. The running back class coming up is not a lot of guys that you're going to be like love over Josh Jacobs. I'm just telling you that right now. If you're holding it because they're like, oh, what rookie running back I'm going to get, you're not going to get. I don't think you're going to get a guy as good as Josh Jacobs. So you might as well make
not at all. Not at all. Exactly. And if you're in second place right now, that means your first round pick next year is going to be shit anyway. So, all right. IDP question for you.
All my Alec Pierce love. Alec Pierce, long touchdown for the Colts. And they're now up 12-7. Extra point coming. I did a bunch of friends texted me this morning and asked me, should I play Alec Pierce? And I was like, absolutely play Alec Pierce tonight. And Alec Pierce, big, long, it looks like a 40-plus yard touchdown. So if you got Alec Pierce and Daniel Jones, congratulations.
Wow. I do not. So I can't share the.
You got way too much Alec Pierce, to be honest with you. Okay. Shocker, right? I know, shocker.
So here's this one: Kevin Byard or Minkah Fitzpatrick for Rachel.
I'm going Byard over Minkah. Minkah has been a little tough, but the secondary has been a little iffy for the Bears. It's just everybody's done a little bit of everything, but I do like Byard. I'm playing Byard over Minkah for me.
Yeah. Okay. Moggs answered one of the questions earlier. Is that Jordan Addison, not Devontae Parker, but Parker Washington and Quentin Johnson in the flex. So for that question earlier, the good news is when you have 4 different answers to a question, that usually means your options aren't that bad. Tricky, but it's better than some of the garbage questions where I don't mean the questions are garbage. I mean this is gross, but we know it's not quite as gross. And Michael said, thanks guys. Your answers definitely helped me. Appreciate your time. We appreciate your time more than ours. Please see us every Sunday morning. Even Dave is here in Hawaii, shedding on just the joy that we bring. And mostly I think just rubbing it in our faces that you're in Hawaii and I'm in Missouri and JT's in Illinois.
Before you guys jumped on, we were just talking about how the couple that sits in front of me at Colts games, season ticket holders, they're actually at the Germany game. And they were like, oh, you guys going? I was like, crying a little bit. I was like, I wanted to go so bad. I couldn't make it work. I wanted to go so bad to this Colts game this morning in Germany. So I wish I was there, doing a little pregame in Germany before, but I'm not. I'm stuck in Illinois. It's freezing.
Yeah, it's rainy, windy, and cold here in Missouri. Dave, don't need your opinion other than your opinion on this. Marcus Mariota.
It's so nice right now. I was like walking around for a little bit this morning outside with my shirt off. It's phenomenal right now.
Oh.
Hey, you also didn't have to get up at 4:30 a.m. So
I did wake up at 5 on my time, but not on purpose. That just kind of happened. So
fair enough.
All right, JJ McCarthy last week looked phenomenal. Marcus Mariota, we know every time he starts in a fantasy world, there's value there. Who do you value more?
I'm taking the risk with JJ. He's got the talent. I mean, you've got one of the best receivers in the league with Justin Jefferson, although he's not been playing like it. Jordan Addison has been great. TJ Hawkinson. Yeah, I mean, even the backfield's good. JJ has the weapons to go off. Mariota, not as much. I mean, he's just not the same QB that he was, 6-7 years ago. And on top of that, the supporting cast in Washington right now is not that great. So the upside with JJ is what I'm taking.
Yeah, and that was, a couple weeks back, like week 7, really, when Mariota, probably more like week 4, week 3, week 4, when Mariota was first going to start. We looked at just the likelihood that his rushing upside was going to catapult him. And when he started, he was a top, he's been a top 16, top 18 QB. And that's what he's proven this year so far, is that when he plays, he's the QB 6, then 17, 28, 19, 33. So you can get those QB1 games, but for the most part, they're not Salt Bay style, which I think, no offense to anybody that likes Salt Bay, but I'm really glad that whole trend is over, because I thought that was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever really thought deserved to pay for people to pay $150 for a steak that he sprinkled flaky salt over.
It's not 150. It's like 1,500, dude.
What?
Yeah, it's not 150. 150 won't get you anything there. It's like $1,000.
Fuck that.
What people are paying.
Holy
yeah,
shit.
It's crazy. I'm on JJ here. I'm leaning into JJ. I actually have a league where I have Caleb Williams. That's a 1 QB league. I went and picked up JJ. I'm going to play him over him. I like JJ today. I'm taking the upside on him. I'm taking a chance. He's done a little bit of everything. So I'm leaning into him this week. It might bite me, but I'm leaning into him.
That's right. We'll use that same enthusiasm and see if it can catapult JJ over Jordan Love. I assume it's going to catapult him over Fields and Tua, even though Fields is rushing upside, blah, blah, blah. The whole thing, we've been there. But McCarthy or Jordan Love?
Man, this is a toughie for me because this is my bias coming in. I don't really like Jordan Love. I really don't.
Yeah,
I would probably play Love over him, but I don't like Jordan Love. I've traded him in every league I've ever had. I traded him for Herbert in before the season last year, and I'm absolutely loving my life for it. Fields, I will tell people, look at your scoring. If you have a league that scores any kind of negative for sacks, get off Fields. I have a league that's if you get 3 or more sacks in a game, it's like negative 10 points. You don't want that going against the Browns today. So, if you don't score negative points, then you're probably okay taking the upside of trying to get Fields because the offense has been doing some stuff. But, man, I'm nervous about him going against that Cleveland defense with turnovers and stuff. So, you get heavy negative points for interceptions, fumbles, sacks, anything like that. You got to get off Fields today for that. I'm playing 2 in some spots. I think I'm going Love, but I tell you what, if it was me personally, I have to be honest because I'm playing JJ over him today and seeing what happens.
I just moved JJ ahead of Love earlier this morning. I have him 1 spot ahead of Jordan Love. I'm fine with it. I like Baltimore as an opposing matchup. I see you can always attack Baltimore secondary and put up good production. So, all right, Aronde Gadsden Jr. or Sam Laporta, Dave. Full point PPR.
Give me Laporta, buddy. I think he's been working into the offense a little bit more. Gadsden's great, but that offense is, Herbert wakes up one morning and decides who's going to be his guy, and you just don't know. Is it Keenan Allen? Is it Lad McConkey? Is it Gadsden? So I just don't want to take the risk that it's not Gadsden's week. Laporta's the guy there. He's been great in the red zone. It's been great recently, so I'll take Laporta.
JT, are you?
I'm leaning
on board?
Laporta, even though I'm a huge Gadsden fan. I'm playing both guys everywhere. Just to tell people that I'm playing them everywhere, both of them. I'm playing one of them in the flex and one of my tight spot in a ton of leagues. So I'm actually playing Gadsden over some wideouts in the flex spot. But if just I had to pick one, I'm going Laporta slightly ahead. Exactly for what Dave said. You're just not 100% sure if Gadsden's going to be that guy this week or somebody else ends up being that guy.
Exactly. He one spot ahead of each other in there. Ben highlights Watson's pretty solid start. For everybody listening, if you didn't see Ryan Heath, he put out a tweet about his run routes and target share last week. He is playing ahead of Marcus Golden, right, or Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's also banged up right now, so there's a less of a crowded room in Green Bay. I hate that because I have a lot of Matthew Golden places, and it's not helping. All right, Scott Fishbowl League for Mr. Scampers, guys. Jorge, welcome back, by the way. Last week's love child of the show, Terrell Jennings at Tampa Bay, or Xavier Legette without potentially Tedero McMillan. I don't believe McMillan has been ruled out completely yet, but I know it's trending that direction. Does anybody have any info for that?
So he is trending in the right direction, referring to McMillan. Man, it's so hard for me to trust Xavier Legette. Just is not somebody that I jump out of bed and I'm like, woo, get to start with Xavier Legette today. But, you know, Terrell Jennings, we got this question from Rachel last week in the chat, like, real ballsy situation. Do I do it? And I'm like, and what did we see? We saw Vrabel give him a goal line touchdown opportunity. So it's, you know, for the first down upside there for the scoring for Scott Fishbowl, I think I'm leaning Terrell Jennings in this situation.
God, I might go Legette just because of if Tet ends up not being able to go. But man, that's a tough one. After Dave answers, I got a real quick Scott Fishbowl since they brought it up. I got a real quick starter question for my team. I want to see what you guys say real fast after you guys answer this one.
It's a Legette for me. I think even if Ted starts, sounds like he's pretty banged up anyway. So I think Legette's going to get the looks. You know, what he does with the targets, I don't know, but he's had a couple of good games this year, and I'm banking on the upside.
Yeah, I am on Team Legette if I have to. Of those options, I think it's the only way I'll be on Team Legette.
I just do it because I'm going to tie it into this. Scott Fishbowl scoring. Would you guys go Xavier Legette, Malik Washington, or Davis Mills in your super flex spot?
I don't think I would go Davis Mills just because the quarterback scoring in that is not really inflated enough to offset his shortcomings or long neck comings, if you will. But thank you.
Yeah, I'm leaning Washington over him, and Washington, and then Legette, then Mills. I didn't have a second QB. That's the only reason I even have David Mills. But I'm leaning Washington, Malik Washington.
Yeah,
Him and what's the guy? Mike Lennon should have a long neck off.
Yes, they could. That'd be a good competition. Scampers wants to follow up on the conversation earlier from the Salt Bay, and is, in his honest opinion, let the idiots pay that much money for stupid shit. While yes, I do agree. I have also, what's it, Dave? As you were saying earlier, $1,000 to $1,500. Correct. The Golden Tomahawk steak is around $1,100 to $1,500, depending upon if you get that has the edible gold leaf, and you can also pay a little extra. Would you guys pay their asking price of $170 for the ribeye? I still wouldn't. I don't think that is nearly as exciting to watch them come along and sprinkle the salt and do the smack the table with the knife and cut it.
I mean, I'll eat a good $25, $30 New York strip. I'm totally good with that. I'll cook
$77 for the New York strip there, by the way, as one of the most affordable option.
I'd be on the, if I had to pick for doing three, I'll take the 77 New York strip all day long.
I'm a ribeye guy. I have paid about $1.50 for a ribeye before, and it wasn't that much different than like a $70 ribeye. Nah, probably not. I don't like the gimmick of that place.
Yeah, no.
I've got no problem with good steakhouses. I've been a Golden Steer.
Yeah.
How is that place? I do want to go there.
Oh, it's fantastic. It ain't cheap. It ain't cheap at all.
I've seen the lobster tails are ridiculous. Yeah.
Jorge's seen
me and a buddy
everything.
walked out with like a $500-$600 bill for two of us. So it was you're not going there to save pennies. So.
Down the street from there is the Eiffel Tower restaurant. I say down the street. Everything's down the street, I guess, technically, but a little bit away. And and they had I had a bison fillet, which shockingly 3 different people recommended. Note to self, or note to you guys, note to everybody. If you're at the Eiffel Tower restaurant and you ask one of the servers, hostesses, bartenders, etc., if they're trying to push an item, because that's ultimately what I assumed, because 3 different people told me to try that. Got to try that bison. So you're trying to push the bison. I might as well slap their mom in front of them, because they're like, sir, we don't push things here. And I was like, fuck, God damn it. I'm already out of place now. And they're going to sit me in the shitty seat. But
of course he's going to say that. you pulled him out. I think he was definitely pushing the bison.
Well, I will say, I would never push back, because it was the best cut of meat I've ever had in my life.
Okay.
100%. Shockingly, right? It's crazy. So from a bison best cut of meat to the skirt steak of question,
last
not at
question
all.
better. It's not gaming. Okay.
Not in the least. It's not your traditional bison like beef that you're thinking of. I believe what I read, there's only 4 cuts from the actual bison itself that qualifies as like the fillet instead of the entire tenderloin. I'm not a butcher, nor do I claim to be, but I did some research. Sorry, my allusion to Z Money's question as being the skirt steak of questions. No offense meant, but it is a defense question, which doesn't get a lot of love. And skirt steak, as JT will tell you, if treated properly, can produce some of the best results. And that's how a defensive question can be. If you guys can get this one right, Z Money might have the advantage.
Just got to marinate that skirt steak.
Let's not marinate on this question too long. Let's go ahead and give them Green Bay, Tampa Bay, the Jets, or the Chargers.
Packers here. Oh, sorry, go.
So one of these is not like the others. And the only reason why I'm saying the Jets is they're taking on Cleveland. Every other team has a difficult matchup against their offensive opponent. I'm still losing Sauce Gardner, losing Quinnen Williams. I'm still not scared of the Cleveland Browns putting up numbers on the Jets with Dylan Gabriel.
What's the 4th option? What did I miss? The
Chargers. Yeah.
I might just agree, and then I'm going to take the lowest point total and say the Jets there too. Boy, might not have been knocking the type of question, but the end result was definitely not skirt steak. That was more was that London broil, which is essentially like a skirt steak kind of, isn't it?
I would say spam, but for many spam fans that we had last week, I'm not going to.
Yeah, don't even do it, Jorge. Don't even.
No. And you know what? I saw videos. I hope it wasn't. I mean, I know it was probably as a result. That spam musubi.
Yeah, I saw that.
I've eaten a bunch of them here so far. It's awesome. So good.
Yeah, I saw a commercial for spam yesterday where they were talking about musubi, and I'm like, oh,
you can get them with egg or like chicken teriyaki one, and yeah, it's good.
The fact that we just talked about this last week, and I told you how big it is in Hawaii. Yeah. When I was in Hawaii, my cousin used to live there for a long time, and then Dave's there. So, Dave, you have to get some spam for us and eat it.
Oh, dude, I love it.
So
the best ones are from the 7-Eleven.
We can all enjoy.
The best one.
I've heard that. I've heard 7-Eleven has some elite options. An elite team name that you can change your team name to is Spam Night, which is thank you.
No, that would mean I have to pick up Bam Night. That will never happen. I'm never seeing that on my roster.
You don't have to. Actually, do you? If you have your team name, let's say your team name has stayed the same year to year. Don't know if you change your team names every year. Pause that. Table this discussion real quick, because Andrew has a question from a minute ago, and I don't want to get into conversations that aren't part of value. So it's the PPR league. Jorge,
Yep.
Jacoby Brissett. Dave, Baker Mayfield. Choose your options there. Jorge, are you leaning Jacoby Brissett?
I am
your love?
100% leading Jacoby Brissett. This Cardinals team is clicking on offense with Jacoby Brissett. Specifically, Jacoby Brissett is clicking as the quarterback. So I'm going Brissett here.
Wow, even over Baker. That's
Yeah.
I get it. Baker without some, his options are dwindling.
I've got to be honest, Jacoby burnt ends brisket is looking hot right now. And Baker's great, don't get me wrong, but he's running out of options at receiver. If Tez Johnson is the number one guy, the potential for a bad game is there. Baker's extremely talented, but I just worry what kind of game he's going to have. The safer option definitely is Jacoby on that one.
Let me ask you guys a question. I'm sorry, after you're done, Dave.
No, I was going to go Shaheed or Tess Johnson. Slightly Tess Johnson, but it's not by much. We just don't know what they're going to do with Shaheed in the new offense. So he might be on a snap count. Who knows? But Tess Johnson's a lot safer.
To ask a question based off of this Buccaneers question, if you're one of those teams that is like trying to make the final push to make the playoffs and you started off slow, but you've been holding on to Chris Godwin and you have a shallow bench, and with the news that came out from Schefter a couple of days ago that they're not expecting him until at least December, is he droppable and you're just playing a wide receiver like a Parker Washington if he's available on your waiver wire, just rolling with him rest of season, or are you still?
Do you have an IR spot?
Well,
let's say IR spot is full already, right? So like,
gotcha.
Are you dropping him?
In one of my leagues, Jorge, in one of my leagues, I had this exact same situation. I had Godwin, not a very deep bench. Had to make a decision. Am I holding? Am I fine? Plus, he's been listed as out instead of IR in the last spots. Now, my leagues, I let out guys go on IR, but a lot of other leagues I'm in, it has to be on IR or they don't do it. I end up just I pulled the trigger and dropped him this week for Parker Washington. I was like, I gotta get somebody else that's playable. If he's not going to be back till December at this point, it's a lost season. So I actually made the move. I dropped him this week and picked up a guy like Parker Washington instead.
All right, just wanted to ask that question here. Nate, while we're waiting for some more questions, should we get into some news and notes for the day?
Did we answer Andrew's question, or was it?
So here, I'll put my 2 cents into. I still think that I'm gonna lean. I would still go Baker, but I would also pair it up with Tez. That way, at least I'm going heavy on that, and I don't have to worry about going Jacoby. And then because I think I'm starting Tez over Shaheed. As much as I like the scenario for Rashid Shaheed better than what he was in New Orleans, I still think there's an acclimation period. And Tez Johnson is really starting to click with Baker week after week. It looks like he's seeing more and more trust. And I just like that idea. I know it's not called stacking when you're just playing in a regular league itself, but you're still stacking an option where if one blows up, most likely if Tez blows up, Baker is going to receive some of that benefit.
I'm with you, Nate, on that. I'm a stack guy. I'm going to put Baker and Tez together. Though I do love that Andrew put Jacoby Brisket. I love it. Brisket. Is my favorite nickname. So I love that he put that in there. But I've got to go with the upside of if Tez gets a touchdown, I'm getting a touchdown for him and Baker. So I'm going both. To me, the fact that I can put two guys together pushes that group over playing Tez and Brisket.
When you have the stack, the wide receiver and QB stack, and they score a long touchdown, there's no better feeling than hitting the refresh button on the points and just seeing it go through the roof.
Boom, boom, boom. Exactly. So
fantastic.
Yes, Jorge, I do believe it's time to discuss some news and notes. Yeah, we've probably talked about a lot of the news and notes based on a lot of our discussions that we've had. But in case you're just joining us or have been joining us and didn't know some of the players that are out, doubtful, questionable, we'll run through some as we know in Tampa, Bucky Irving continued to be out. Obviously, the news with Bucky isn't. I don't know. I don't want to say it's not optimistic because I don't think any of us really had optimism per se. But what do you do with Bucky Irving? Or I'm sorry, what do you do with the Tampa Bay backfield? Is this a Sean Tucker where we see more involvement from him? Still Rashad White? Or hey, are you intrigued to put Tucker in any of your lineups? Obviously, whenever you need it.
Yeah, I am intrigued, but to put him in a lineup, I'm not. I do like the idea, and I forgot whether it was you, Nate, or who brought it up, but given the fact that we're coming off a bye and Bucky still is not healthy enough to go, how much longer is this facade going to go on until we find out that he's done for the season, and therefore you should get Sean Tucker on your rosters now, just in case that happens to be the case there for Tampa Bay.
Yeah,
this is the time of year as well to start stacking other people's handcuffs, just in case. Your Brian Johnsons, your Tyler Algiers, like those guys. It's worth it if you have the bench space. It's worth a shot because when it comes to playoff time, you might have the number one running back.
Mm-hmm. That's a little trick I don't know if it's a little trick, but it's something. Sunday morning before the game start, I try to scour through and see, late people ads. And like JT was talking about, some leagues don't allow you when the player's out to put into your IR. A lot of the ones I do allow you to. So when they're listed as out, I throw that person in my IR, and then I'll randomly just pick up a backup that for usually a running back on a team that's just available just in case. And then let next week hash it out who I have to drop. And usually it's just a revolving door of garbage players that happen to, never actually see the light of day. And so it's a fun little exercise too. It's kind of like a little game, like a little scratch off. You're not rooting for injury, but if something were to happen, hey, you know what? Free ticket. I'm going to go turn this in. I'm going to forget to turn it in, leave it on my cabinet, and it's just going to never get turned in, but no one else is going to use it either. And so that's another.
Just don't pick up Bam Knight, okay? If Bam Knight's there, just leave him, all right?
Don't scratch it up and throw it to someone else.
He's the brand.
Sean Tucker is way better than Bam Knight. I like Sean Tucker. I'm a huge Sean Tucker guy coming out of Syracuse. The whole heart issue, how he kind of dropped in the draft when he was expected to go way higher than that. I actually think he just needs a shot. I have him in way too many leagues. I'm actually playing him in a couple spots because I think he's actually a better running back than Rashad White. I'm stashing him. I think Sean Tucker's a great stash everywhere. I'm playing him this week in just like leagues that I'm like just dying. I have no running backs, and I'm like, please get me 5 points. I'm playing him. Hopefully he gets a touchdown. But I think he's worth it because if he actually, we've seen it. We haven't seen it a lot, but we've seen it. If he has to get the start or he has to get touches, he's actually been productive. So unlike Bam Knight, who were like, yeah, he's had a million chances, not good. When Sean Tucker's actually got chances, he's been good. So if he does end up having to be the number one for Tampa on a good offense, I actually think he can be a good fantasy player. So those are the guys I'd rather have on my roster. A guy that I know I can, at some point, if he gets the chance, he can perform as opposed to going like, this guy has sucked his whole career, but he's the number one. So I guess I'm going to put him in my lineup and hope he gets 12 carries for 25 yards and falls into the end zone.
Yep. So we'll jump away from news and notes. We'll go to start. Alpha Gator has a question. Colson Loveland or Harold Fannin, PPR, Jorge?
Man, I mean, Fannin. Give me Fannin. I don't like the passing upside here in Chicago. Like we were just alluding to a little bit earlier, the weather is a concern there. And Fannin, if he's healthy, there is that hamstring question mark. But it looks like he is going to play. And we've seen the rapport that he has with Dylan Gabriel. So give me Fannin.
Yep, tied in the 11.
Loveland is looking good. I mean, he got that big bomb touchdown at the end of the game. They're throwing the ball more in Chicago. I don't know, man. I mean, Fannin is a little bit banged up, and Loveland's healthy. They're looking better in Chicago. I'm going to take the risk with Loveland.
One of the concerns I have with Loveland in that game is just, I guess the weather really, if the weather is going to be as bad as it is, probably benefits someone maybe short to intermediate. And Loveland, I worry with Kmet back if that just gets, like we said earlier, the Bears doing Bears things and being ugly and spreading it around. I lean.
The real interesting thing is going to see how the Giants actually guard Loveland. Do they actually play a safety on him, or do they try to guard him with a linebacker? If they try to guard him with a linebacker, they're smoked. Like, they're screwed. There's no way. But they've got good safeties. If they play like a Tyler Newman or like a Holland, they put somebody else over him, I think that they could neutralize Loveland. So that's going to be an interesting thing. And again, I don't love the weather. I don't mind snow. I say this all the time. I don't mind snow. You can throw in snow, but the wind, especially in Chicago, excuse me, when that wind can change at any time. You think you have the wind, then it's going against you, then it's a crosswind. That always makes me real, real nervous. And I feel like
No, the weather is definitely a concern there for Chicago, especially to what you were alluding to, the wind there. Let's see here. We got Alpha Gator with another question here. Rashad White, Montgomery, or Vidal in a PPR. In a PPR, I think I'd go Vidal. I don't think this is a situation where the Chargers, obviously they have the issues at the various offensive tackle spots. I think Herbert wants to get the ball out quickly, and Vidal out of the backfield is the easiest one of the two. Montgomery, we don't see him get a lot of PPR work. He's more of a volume-based runner. Rashad White, I guess it comes down to White and Vidal. I think that with the situation though with the Chargers, there's a more of a concern for the ball to come out quicker to Vidal than there are more targets that Baker Mayfield can read through his progressions with, and therefore Rashad White kind of becomes the fourth option, whereas Vidal becomes a little bit higher up the pecking order there in options for the passing game.
You're banking on Rashad White securing the values probably exclusively out of the PPR upside only, because I don't see much rushing room for him against New England. I think New England's been so good against the run. I do worry about that aspect of it. So a combination of both, if I have to look at the passing as well as the receiving upside and the potential for the floor and the ceiling, I'll lean Kamani Vidal, but I don't love it, man.
I'm taking Monty. Mandatory Monty. I'd rather trust that he gets a touchdown over what those other two guys are going to do, to be honest with you. I know it's not a great matchup. I don't love it either, but if I was between those three, for me, I would rather go with a guy I know that can be really good.
All right, JT, let's get to an IDP question. How about pick 3 IDPs: Bethune, Devin Bush, Byron Young, Tyrese Knight if Ernest Jones is out, and Cody Simon, who will be wearing the green dot, right? Question mark. That is correct for Arizona this week. Why don't you go first, and then I'll follow suit.
I actually think I'm playing Cody Simon this week. He looked pretty good last week. I like where he's at. I'm playing Bethune just because somebody's going to have to make tackles for that Niners team. It could be ugly, but he could end up with a lot of them. Oh, Devin Bush has it's been on my shit list ever since Steelers days, so I avoid him at basically all costs. I'm probably going Bethune. I like Simon's upside.
But we need 3. So,
and I'm probably slightly going Byron Young over Tyrese Knight. Slightly.
Right. So I'm going to go Bethune just because we've seen the tackle numbers increase over the past few weeks as he's been taking on more of that role coming off of Fred Warner's injury. I will go Byron Young because I have him and Jared Verse kind of neck and neck in my rankings towards the top, and then Tyrese Knight if Ernest Jones is out. If Jones is in, then Cody Simon. I do want to throw a couple IDP names out there for people who are hurting at the position that are kind of filling in for injury. Carson Schweizinger, we don't know whether or not he is going to play. He was questionable, but if he is out, and I apologize for butchering this name, but Mahamoud Diabate came in replacement of him and had a good week there. We mentioned Cody Simon for Arizona. Darius Masau for the Giants is out, so Demetrius Flanagan Fowles is an option there. He again came on and played pretty well. So just a couple names there to pay attention to for those of you who are a little banged up at linebacker and need some deeper plays. Pay attention to those players. All right. I have a question here. Wilson or Jennings in half PPR? Wilson. Which Wilson is he talking about?
I think that's Garrett Wilson for the Jets or Juwan Jennings for the Niners is my guess.
Okay, I would go Garrett Wilson because that is the guy he's locking onto, referring to Justin Fields. Like that's the primary target. Juwan Jennings, yes, he had that really good game a few weeks back. He had a good game last week. We've seen the upside with Juwan Jennings, obviously, but the Rams do have it. They are technically on the schedule as having a difficult defense against wide receivers, so a little concern there. I think both are probably fairly comparable, but as far as the half PPR aspect and the targets, Wilson for me is going to get the majority of those targets than Jennings would for his respective team.
I'm with you. I'm on Will. I'm playing Jennings in a lot of spot, but if I have both, I'm playing Wilson over Jennings.
All right, so let's see what we got going on here. We got in the chat, we got considering the matchup / weather, half PPR Monangai, Travion Henderson. For me, it's still Monangai. I just love what we saw last week and we've seen whenever he's played. So definitely somebody to pay attention to there. Let's see who else we got.
Jorge, we had one from Andrew. We just kind of talked about it, so we'll just kind of re-emphasize. He's asking, do you guys anticipate Sean Tucker taking over Rashad White? That's a question. Well, I mean, Rashad White's been there. He's done things I don't personally like. I don't think metrics are good for him. I think Sean Tucker's a better back. I would prefer to have Sean Tucker over White. Do I think he takes over? I don't know, but I'm getting a lot of shares of Sean Tucker. I'm putting him on my bench. I'm holding him because I do think there's a chance that if he gets a chance to run, this week's going to be tough because the Pats have been great against the run, but I do like Tucker. So I'm definitely picking up and stashing him in the fact that if Rashad White starts to, fail, which I think he will, and Bucky doesn't come back, that Sean Tucker is going to get a legit shot. So I don't know if it's in full anticipation like it's going to happen, but I definitely think there is a chance it does. So I'm kind of leaning into that.
We have a comment from Philip. Noah Sewell is also another solid fill-in with TJ Edwards being out. We saw him come in and basically play in TJ Edwards' role for most of the early part of the season. So good call there, Philip. We got Will. What's up, Will? Haven't seen you in forever. I hope you're doing well. He says Justin Reed or Trayvon Moehrig. I really like Justin Reed the past few weeks, and not to mention his box safety role, trying to slow down this running game for Carolina. The Trayvon Moehrig, again, one of these awesome box safeties, but what is his role, so to speak, going to be? Is it going to be more of a coverage role? Because Kamaro's not doing it, whether it's on the ground or through the air. So Justin Reed, for me, has more of an opportunity to shut down his opposing team's running game. So what about you, JT? What are your thoughts here?
I agree with you. I'm going Reed. I like what he's been doing.
He has another question here. Bethune, Cashman, or Cooper? You're referring to Edgerrin Cooper. I am going Bethune. Just has been the trends and tackles have just been too hard to ignore. So give me Bethune here for the 49ers. What about you, JT?
That one's a close one. I think all those guys are right there. I think Cooper's the best player. Is he the best fantasy play this week? That's a little more iffy. The one thing with Bethune is like I just mentioned a couple minutes ago, the Niners defense is just destroyed. Somebody's going to have to make tackles. And is there a chance he gets, 15 assists? I think there are, because I think he could be flying all around having to finish everything off. So I think if you're looking for a big upside of a game, a guy who could end up with a ton of shares, I think Bethune's the guy. I do like all three of those guys to start, though. So I do think all of them could have good weeks. If I had any of them on my teams, I'd be starting all of them. But I'd probably slightly lean Bethune just in the fact that I think the Niners are going to be on defense a lot, and I just don't think they have much else.
Nice. Let's take.
By the way, those who are curious, this is a Masubi.
Oh, turn that around.
Oh, look at that. Look at Dave coming through
she's
the
a
show
good one.
live. That's
I know.
phenomenal. Good
That's
work.
my breakfast.
That is awesome. We got Andre in the chat. Lions or Browns defense this week? Man, like the question is, do we trust Mariota's going to do something with the Washington Commanders offense, or do we trust that the Browns are going to be able to slow down the Jets offense?
Lions are the safer bet, I think.
I agree with you there, to be honest with you.
I think Lions are safer. Here's the only time I go Browns over Lions is if your league has really high points for sacks. If you get team sacks are more than just a point per sack, then I would look at Browns. And I think there's a chance. Last time Myles Garrett went against Justin Fields, it was a shit show. Like Myles Garrett had 1 million sacks. So if the sacks are high for your league, I can see if you get big points for that, I can see going Browns. I think the safer play is the Lions, because if we're going to get in a shootout, it's going to end up being Browns, Jets, out of nowhere craziness. It shouldn't be a shootout. That's not what I mean. It's just like if all of a sudden we see a bunch of points out of nowhere because of turnovers and everything else, I can see that happening. And if your league gets negative points for a pretty good amount of negative points for the more points you give up, then that's why I'd be out on the Browns. So I lean Lions unless points against don't hurt you and sacks count for a lot, then I'd lean Browns.
Well, I mean, the Patriots crushed the Browns, and Garrett still got like 5 or 6 sacks or something ridiculous.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I
yeah.
think they could get a lot of sacks. If you have a league where, like, I have a couple of leagues where they don't count any negative points for points given up, but your sacks count like 3 points per sack for a defense. If that's the case, I'm going the Browns because I think the Browns can get 4 or 5 sacks and get you double-digit points. So that's where I would go. I would go Browns in that type of situation. But to me, it depends on your scoring.
Nice. Let's continue with some news and notes. How far did you all get with news and notes while I was out of there, JT?
Let me look. We didn't get very far because as soon as we started, we talked about Bucky being out. Hadn't moved on to Ramador. That's where we're at. Ramador out for right now for the Patriots.
Ramondre. Thank you for correcting me there. Out for the Patriots, Brian Thomas. Yorga. That's Yorga.
For the Jags. And then we talked about it a little bit earlier, but Chris Godwin got news that he's probably out till at least December. Those are the guys we talked about out, and then didn't get to it, but we were going to bring it up, was doubtful, questionable. Guys you have to keep an eye on. Aaron Jones. Trey Benson for the Cardinals, whether he actually gets pulled off the IR and plays. Tech McMillan has a hamstring injury, but they're saying he is going to play. Torrey Horton is now looking doubtful. Matthew Golden is also on that doubtful tip. And then AJ Barner's the guy we have to keep an eye on. He's also coming in with a injury designation and is looking like it's very iffy to play. I haven't seen an update yet, so we're going to have to look at the update on whether AJ Barner goes or not.
Let me ask you an IR question, right? We were talking about Chris Godwin. Let's stay with the Bucks. Are you stashing Mike Evans if he's on the bench for the last 2 games of the season? Because it looks like they have him slated to play week 16, 17. You're in the playoffs. You're obviously in the championship at that stage. Are you playing Mike Evans?
Man, I mean, if he has my 1, 2, or flex, let me put it like that.
And probably your flex because he's free right now. He's dropped in most leagues, right? So you're picking him up. Are you okay with Mike Evans at your flex?
Let me pull up the schedule here for the Bucks to see who they're taking on week 17.
I mean, if he comes back, you got to assume they're going to try to feed him and get him involved. It is a chancy. It's an iffy thing, especially if you're in a redraft. I don't know if I'm waiting on that and holding it, but I don't think you can chuck him in a dynasty league. I think you still got to hold, but
Dolphins.
It is iffy, but if he comes back, I think they're going to try to get him involved. Because here's the thing: they don't want to wait till a possible playoffs to start working him in. I don't think so. I think they would try to give him a ball. So I don't think that's a bad hold. I think if you could figure out a place to stash him and you could hold him, there's nobody else really worth picking up. Say you're out of IR spots, which sickening I am in a ton of my leagues. I have like 4 guys sitting on my bench on IR because my IR is already filled. I would probably still hold him unless there was somebody I absolutely thought I could pick up and play, and not a Bam Knight pick up and play. Then I would probably keep him.
You know what's surprising about that, Jorge? I was looking at their matchup too, and I was like, man, Carolina, Miami, Carolina, 16, 17, 18. 18's ruled out, but 16, 17, Carolina, Miami. And shockingly enough, Miami has allowed the least amount of points to a wide receiver position, and Carolina has allowed the 4th fewest. Now, is that a product of
interesting?
Yeah, I think it's the old they're losing, so other teams don't have to throw as much against them. I don't know if Tampa fits that same narrative as well, where they'll have the lead and won't need to. Regardless, Evans is that guy that I think that it only really takes 1 or 2 plays for him to return value, and usually that's in the red zone. But interesting. I mean, if you have the spot, I'll always pick up Mike Evans. Yeah, if I have that spot, for sure. There's so many better options, or not. I mean, there's not too many better options than having a lottery ticket of Mike Evans just sitting there on a free spot. Short bench, no IR spot. I'm dropping him.
Got Andrew in the chat saying, Dave, you're not making it to championships.
Andrew's in my league where I picked him up.
Nice. Hello, Michaela. Tez Johnson or Harold Fannin as a flex this week in a PPR. It's Tez Johnson for me. What about you guys?
Yeah, absolutely, Tez Johnson.
All right. Let's see. Got another question here. Start 2, Ladd, Odunze, AJ Brown.
Don't let the goose egg from last week put you off. Odunze is in there. It happens.
I agree. I think I would go the first 2. We look at first read target share. That's definitely going Odunze's way for Chicago. So even if they don't throw the ball too much, the volume should be going towards Odunze, and Ladd McConkey is Ladd McConkey. AJ Brown, I mean, are we even talking about him being a top 2 round pick next year, or is he moving further down? You know, it's not looking good.
I'm sitting AJ Brown everywhere I have him. It's not like he was crushing it before he's hurt. Now he's coming back off injury. They haven't thrown the ball a ton. Like, unless I don't have other good options, I'm playing Ladd and Odunze over AJ Brown. I gotta have a week or 2 where AJ shows me he's gonna actually do something, and that the Eagles are gonna throw the ball enough. You know, it's been great for my Dallas Goedert shares. I mean, he's crushed, but he's been about the only one. So I'm probably going Ladd and Odunze here.
Sorry, Nate, just 1 second. Just to remind folks here, we put out tweets and messages on our Facebook page as well as on our Twitter page at Fantasy and Frames. We have our rankings up to date over at fantasyandframes.com for both offense and IDP. We got my IDP rankings there. Then we got mine, Nate, and Drew Scott's. Obviously, as the morning goes on and we hear more news, those will be updated accordingly. But as soon as we go off air at noon, those will be finalized. So make sure you head over there today. Obviously. All right. Andrew says, how much will I regret dropping Matthew Golden? I needed a replacement kicker for Aubrey and didn't want to drop him. I mean, he hasn't exactly been setting the world on fire there, Andrew. So, I'm assuming that this need for desperation for a kicker is coming from you're either in contention or you wanted to hold a top spot for a potential bye for the playoffs, which is crazy that we're already starting to talk about buys and whatnot for playoff teams. But hey, I mean, we're in the double digits, right?
I don't think there's going to be much. I mean, the regret's going to happen. If you, number one, there's a good chance you could probably pick him right back up too. I don't foresee
not Aubrey. No way. Someone's making a waiver claim.
No, he didn't drop Aubrey. He dropped Matthew Golden.
Gotcha. Okay.
Because he wants to know how much he'll regret dropping Golden to pick up his replacement kicker. And yeah, dropping Aubrey, someone would. which is crazy to think that a kicker priority would supersede a wide receiver priority. But yeah, I think Golden's production, if he misses this week, that's the hope you have, is that he doesn't even play and then you can get him right back. But maybe 2 weeks of the final 6 weeks, he might have a game that's going to pop off if you don't have him back. But
if it's me, I'm waiting to see how I do in the morning games. When I say morning Pacific time, so the 1 o'clock Eastern time games. If I'm projected at like 85% or something and I'm absolutely running away with it, maybe I just risk it and don't drop Aubrey and have no kicker. But if it's 50-50 and I might lose, I don't want to look back and miss playoffs by one game going, damn, if I just picked up a kicker, I would have made playoffs. I think you'll have more regrets that way.
That's an interesting point too. I mean, as long as you know you're going to win. I've fallen down that trap before where I guaranteed myself that I was like, oh, I can't lose now. I'm up 85 with Aaron Rodgers and who was it? It was Garrett Wilson and Aaron Rodgers going like on a Monday night, which it was, yeah. Those days still haunt me a little bit, but it is what it is.
I had that situation a couple of weeks ago. I was the guy I was going against. I think I was like 98% chance to win, and he had Jahmyr Gibbs, and I was like, oh, I should be fine. Then all of a sudden I look down, and I'm only at like a 54% chance. I'm like, what's going on? That's when Gibbs went off on Monday night for like 180 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns or something. But so you're right. There is never a safe barrier, right?
Well, I probably told you guys this, and not to go off too much of a tangent, but I've made a purchase based off of that because my wife Carrie, wanted a island for our kitchen, and it was the playoffs, and I was like, "Yep, I already won this week. Definitely going to the championship. That guarantees me at least $500, even if I lose. Let's go buy that for you." And we did. And I found out that night after I came back, it was a Chiefs game that day, and fell asleep, and woke up to me losing by like 1.6 and didn't make the championship. And then I was out $400 for an island that I love, but that's life right there. So I look at that every day and I kick it a couple times.
Do you remember?
Just remind you constantly of the loss.
Exactly.
Your wife's like, why do you always have that look on your face? You're like, nothing, honey.
She knows.
Nothing.
She was with me.
Fine.
She knows.
Who was the player who did it?
It was two. It was that Aaron Rodgers, Garrett Wilson with the Jets.
Gotcha.
Well, seeing the silver lining here, at least it wasn't an actual island. LOL.
It's true. Look at Will always coming through, and you know what? Just for that, rate my dynasty trade just before the season started. I'm not even going to read it. A+, you win. That was the best trade ever. But he did. He traded AJ Brown for Travion Henderson. Dynasty though, wise. I mean,
I think that's going to work out for you, dynasty, right? Like, AJ Brown's value is quickly tanking. I know Travion's not who we wanted him to be, but he's also a rookie. Like, give him some time, new coaching staff. I think they'll start to trust him. I think his value is going to go up by the end of the season, if not by next year.
I do too. And I'll add one little piece to that. Sorry, I know you want to get to the next question, but it's Travion Henderson's value to someone else in your league might even be more than the value to yourself. Whereas AJ Brown most likely is not increasing value. He's not an appreciating asset. Somebody else might see Travion in your league and you might get more than AJ Brown in return for him if you don't, if you give up hope. So I think that it's an asset that still hasn't peaked in potential value.
I got ZA2156. I'm ranked 4th or 5th, 10-team dynasty, full PPR superflex. Should I trade my 26th first for Barkley and a 26th third? His RBs are Breece Hall, Rico Dowdle, Kamani Fidel, JSAM, Ja'Cory Koski-Merritt. I would not trade a first-round pick for Saquon Barkley at this point of his career. That third does nothing for me right now. I think you roll with the running backs you have and you upgrade or further cement your receiver position. What about you, JT? What are your thoughts?
So this one depends a little bit where you're at here. If you're 4 and 5, but your league gets in on points and you're like right in the mix in points, or like couple leagues. I'm in a couple leagues right now where everyone, like the first place team is like 6-3, then everybody else is 4-5 or 5-4. And it's a mix. And I'm looking at points like, am I in that lower part of that points, or am I in the mid, the high part of points? I have a couple leagues where I'm in this similar situation. I'm like 4-5 or 5-4, but I'm like third in the league in points. And I'm looking at the two teams in front of me, and I'm like, ooh, they're not like loaded. I could win this thing. Depending on what your starting lineup is, I would love to trade. I'm going to reiterate this. Me and Nate talked earlier in the show. I don't love this 26 class at all. This 26 class, I think, is going to be a defensive class. We've seen a couple offensive classes lately. I think it's going to be a stud defensive NFL class. I think the offense is going to be very iffy as far as fantasy players go.
Ohio State receiver is going next year, right?
Receiver, I think, is the best position in this draft by far. I don't think there's a ton of like absolute guarantee guys, but I think wide receiver is by far the best position in this draft. So if you're looking for wideout and you're going to finish high and you get a top 5 or 6 pick, then I feel pretty good about who I can get there. If I'm finishing like at the end of the first round, I'm like, I don't know who's going to be there, honestly. So to me, if I'm in the mix points wise, here's where I would be nervous. If I'm 4-5 and you have to be a top 5 or 6 team to get in the playoffs on record, how far is everybody else ahead of you? If it's a league where 6th place, which most of my leagues are 6th place, is the most overall points, I want Barkley because Barkley's going to get me points. And he's going to give me a shot to make the playoffs. And I've won a lot of leagues where I was the last team in on points, and I ended up winning the league. So to me, I think it's worth it. I would make that move depending on who else I had. If I'm really solid at wideout, I do. But that's where I would go. I would actually make that move for Barkley.
He says his receivers are Jefferson, Egbuka, London, and Worthy. Tight end Ferguson and Andrews. Quarterbacks are Dak, Caleb, and Nix. Middle of the pack in points allowed, points for, had a tough schedule.
I would make that move. I'd make that trade because now you've got Barkley as your starting running back with who else he had in there was a stud. And then you got Dowdle, who's been good as your third running back. Yeah. So you got Brees and Barkley with Dowdle as your third. I'm in on that. I'm making that move. This team's good enough. If you get in the playoffs with JJ and Egbuka and London and Andrews picks it up now that Lamar's back, this team can win. Dak, Caleb, Nix, I like it. I'm making that move.
Yeah, seeing the receiver option, seeing the rest of the roster, I think I'm with you there, JT, as well. I got a question from Ronnie. Morning to you. Need 2 RBs, 2 wide receivers, and a flex. Cook, Etienne, Swift, Monty for his running backs, and then Flowers, Olave, Harrison, and Jamison Williams. Thanks, fellas. So let's tackle the RBs first. So Cook, Etienne, Swift, Monty. For me, it's first and last for James Cook and David Montgomery. What about you, Dave?
I'm going Cook and ETN, assuming it's PPR. I think ETN value you're going to get it with the value you're going to get in PPR with ETN. As far as receivers, I still like Olave. I know the quarterback room is not great. Marvin Harris Jr. is an absolute slam for the flex. I risk it with Flowers. I think the upside is there.
I would go Olave and I'd go Marvin Harrison and Flowers for my wide receivers and Olave as my flex. Sorry, Nate, your turn.
Yeah, I'm still going. I'm going Cook and ETN myself. I'm taking Zay, and it's close between Marvin Harrison Jr. and JMO, so I'd probably go those two. I think last week was another. We saw for first half the Jamison Williams fear factor game of nothing going on, and then what do you know? He starts getting targets at around 8 to 12 yards consistently. They start looking his direction more, and he pops off for one. And it's like, why don't they use that same rationale the entire game? And maybe it's just setting that up for the second half. I don't like it. Dan Campbell, if you can listen to me, please just let's not wait to the second half for Jameson Williams to get incorporated. Let's try to do that, 10-yard target share throughout the game and let him have 7-8 catches or at least 7-8 targets and do so. So I don't know if that helps you, Ronnie, or not, but
so one cool thing about getting into the game that's currently on, Alec Pierce.
What's the score?
It's 14-13 Falcons. Alec Pierce half PPR scoring has a 16.4 points and 19.9 in full PPR. Did you know that the Atlanta Falcons run the most cover 3 in all of the NFL, and both Daniel Jones and Alec Pierce are in the top 8 as far as win rates and fantasy points per dropback against that coverage? So whoever listened to Fourth and Frames where the guys were talking about Alec Pierce being somebody who should have been ranked higher than the wide receiver 32. And of course you can catch them on Wednesdays at 10 p.m. Eastern. Congratulations. You're doing pretty well if you had Alec Pierce in your lineup this week.
I have to say, as an Alec Pierce owner, I have 1 million shares of Alec Pierce. The A.D. Mitchell, I know a bunch of Colts fans that were absolutely bitching and moaning about trading A.D. Mitchell. While he was probably the most pure talented wide receiver on the Colts team, he was a little bit of a mess. I didn't love him. I didn't love him when they drafted him. He was one of the few guys. Looking at him, he was like one of those guys at the scouting combine. I was like, that guy's everything you want in a wide receiver. And then you watch this film and you're like, this guy should be amazing. Why is he not amazing all the time? He would show it sometimes, not all the time. Him getting moved is just an absolute stamp of approval for Alec Pierce. They now, they trust Alec Pierce. The fact that they're willing to move Mitchell, and he's shown it today. 4 catches, 84 yards on a touchdown. He's a deep bomb guy. He's my favorite player in best ball, and any leagues that give you bonus points for deep catches, long plays, 40, 50-yard plays, I love him because he's fantastic at that. And like you said, Jorge, against the cover 3, he's the guy you want. He's going to just split that safety and that corner, and he's going to run right through the middle of both of them, and he's going to catch a deep pass. He's looked great today. I'm pumped because a bunch of people texted me this morning like, do you play Alec Pierce? I'm like, absolutely, I'm playing him everywhere. So it's great to see him get off to a good start. And we got ourselves a ball game here. Then bidding, though, I wouldn't mind if the Colts turned it on the second half and blew them out. That would be nice.
I would like for Kyle Pitts to catch a goddamn ball instead of going all Kyle Pitts on.
Does he have
after all we talked about Kyle Pitts early on, he has done a whole lot of nothing. Phoenix has been throwing the ball a little more deep downfield so far. From
were you trying to say Phoenix, or did that just come out by accident for
Phoenix? Phoenix? Oh yeah, I totally said that wrong. You're right. I didn't even do that on purpose. That's hilarious. Yeah, totally. We'll cut that up and make fun of me later. But I said that completely on accident.
Yeah, somebody by the name of Warner, not Warner, is WARNER rather. It's WOERNER Warner. Leads tight ends for the Falcons in receptions. So
he's a career third stringer. He's been in the league for quite a while, but it's been a third stringer his whole career.
Why don't you guys answer this question? I'll be right back.
All right, we got pure desperation play here from Brad. Understand that. A few of these leagues myself. Pick 2 running backs between Bam Knight. I know Dave's out on that. D. Ricardo, Hubbard, Rodriguez from the Commanders, or Jennings from the Pats. Dave, we know you're out on 8. So are you going D. Ricardo and one of these other guys? Who are you doing?
I'm doing D. Ricardo. I do think he's talented. And even though I don't like it, Hubbard is still getting touches. Jennings, you're just relying on him falling in the end zone, and I don't know what New England are going to do today if they're going to try and really just give Henderson all the work. So it's not pretty, but I'm going DeMarcado and Hubbard on this one.
Did you know that Chris Rodriguez was named captain for the Commanders this week? One of the captains.
Ooh, I am playing him in a league because I'm desperate to pick up a running back, so that's nice. Nate, what do you think? I'm going with Dave on this. I'm going DeMarcado and Hubbard. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm pivoting between Rodriguez and Hubbard. I'm torn with the Washington backfield because all the metrics leading up to the last couple of weeks has said that Bill Krosky Merritt, when touching the ball, has been one of the most productive running backs in the league, and yet I don't see the volume increase dramatically as a result. And then when he does get increased volume, the production goes down. So it's kind of a tale of two stories, that maybe he's productive on limited touches, which makes me think maybe they'll get Rodriguez more involved. And I want to go Hubbard for the touches, but man, pure desperation. I'm probably going to just shoot for upside at this point because you don't have a steady RB1 floor that can support, a zero. So I'm just going to shoot for high moon for both, for DeMarcado and Rodriguez.
I want to throw up a Just Ballin' with Jay, always joining us on the show. Met him at the expo, Nate and I did. That's his card right there. Does great artwork here for football. Let me throw that up there as well. Does t-shirts, awesome. It's fantastic stuff. Just Ballin' with Jay. Welcome back to the show. Will says, yeah, Pitts dropped a long catch in the first quarter. Right through his hands, probably a 40-yard gain or more. Yep.
Thanks, Will.
I'm playing him this week in the league, my main league, over because I've got Kelsey on bye. But he's tough to trust. It's really tough to trust. We keep coming back, man. Kyle Pitts every year. I don't know why.
Well, even leading up
Here's
to this
a great
weekend,
trade we got from Za. They saw Za. He said traded AJ Brown in 26th second for Ibuka 2 days ago. That is a crush. What? I can't believe you got that. That is a fantastic trade, Za. You're the man picking that one up. I love that move. I love Ibuka.
While we wait for more questions, you guys want to get into some of this or that? I'm going to say, sure. Okay.
The choice is yours. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. You can get with this or you can get with that. I think you get with this.
I like that, Jorge. That was a great call. I think that aptly titled. Did you change the title name of that?
I did.
Segment just to fit the narrative of the song?
I did. That's exactly what I did, actually. Yeah.
That
called
song
Executive
is
Power.
phenomenal. I remember first time I ever heard that song, I was watching, remember Living Color when Fox started? They had the comedy skit show, and Living Color was phenomenal. I was like not allowed to watch it when I was a kid, and I still watched it. They had them on, and they did that song, and I was like, this song is freaking awesome. I've loved that song ever since it was probably like 1990, 92, something like that. Love that song. It still slaps to this day. That song is awesome.
I text messaged Nate like around like 11 o'clock at night a couple weekends ago. And like, I'm thinking about changing the segment to this or that. What are your thoughts? And I'm pretty sure it was like, yeah, sure, whatever. And because it's 11 o'clock at night, what the hell are you talking about? And it's like, yep. So to answer your question, yes, I did that for both. And to you there, JT says, Will says, in Living Color would never have been allowed onto, neither with Chappelle Show, but you know what? I'll be damned. Chappelle Show,
Nothing
his
with
skits.
Did you go back and watch some of those old skits? You are it's like the most anti-politically correct show of all time. And it was completely 90s. Everything about it was 90s. Yeah. It was so freaking great. Homie the Clown. Homie don't play that. Fire Marshal Bill. I mean, dude, just still, I watch those clips sometimes on YouTube and I just cry. They're still hilarious.
I just watched again, and Nate brought up last week Chappelle and his white friend Chip. I don't know if you've heard that stand-up sketch before where he's like racing and I didn't know I couldn't do that.
Is that the one where he thought he was a white man?
No.
That's from Chappelle's show.
That's from the show, not the stand-up.
This is his stand-up, which I saw that.
That was in DC. Yeah.
Well, that I saw him perform that same routine in Carbondale when I was in college.
Nice.
We went. It was so great. It was.
It's like, I'm going to race them. And the car didn't even know we were racing. And
it
was,
sometimes you got to race. And I use that in context.
The censored version. Yeah. Sometimes you got to race. Exactly.
all the time, and every now and then a person will pick it up like you did. Because sometimes you got to race.
Sometimes you got to race. Sometimes we got to do some of this or that. So,
at quarterback,
yeah.
I'm sorry to interrupt, but
no, you're good.
Quarterback initially realized that when I was looking at some of the options, one of which was one that is happening in a game going right now. So, not entirely a valid one to use, considering you're not going to choose this or that, or maybe you already did. But hence, listening to our answers so far, the three quarterbacks that I had piled on into that desperation type quarterback play were the JJ McCarthy against the Ravens, Justin Fields against the Browns, and even digging super deep and looking at like that more of a super flex option of Davis Mills against the Jaguars, strictly and purely matchup based, looking at the Jags and making someone have to decide which, direction you would go. But I think consensus wise, we pretty much all lean JJ McCarthy.
Yeah.
So I might just go past the quarterback spot since we've talked about him and we've already chosen him over others. But at running back,
I was going to say real quick, Nate, before you move on to RB, I think, JJ, we talked about that a little bit. The big one that's been the question mark for a lot of people, in case people just join the show a little bit later, stuff that we talked about in the first 30, 45 minutes of the show. A big one was, what do you do with T-Law? What do we do with Jacoby Brissett? And what do we do with Tua? Those are guys that a lot of people are like, do I play that guy? Do I not play that guy? Me and Jorge, I posted early on, do I play Tua over T-Law? Because I have both of them in a lot of leagues. Jorge said Tua. I was kind of leaning Tua, even though it's a tough matchup with the Bills. I just hate the T-Law matchup with Houston. And then depending on your league, I had a lot of leagues where Jacoby Brissett was what they projected him at was terrible compared with some of those other guys. I'm like, I don't know. I feel better about him. I almost feel better about Jacoby Brissett than either one of those guys this week. So I have a couple spots where I'm like, nope, I'm getting Jacoby in there. He's definitely a guy. And I have to be honest, there's one other lineup I was in. I was looking at Mac Jones versus T-Law, and even though the Rams are a tough matchup, I'm considering Mac Jones over T-Law. I just hate that matchup so bad. And I'm usually a full-on T-Law guy that I'm just I feel like I want to avoid him at all costs this week. And if it's Tua, Mac Jones, Jacoby Brissett, I'm playing all those guys over him for sure.
Yeah, no.
Do we think Brisket finishes the year as the starting quarterback?
Yes.
If they keep winning?
Absolutely. Why would you take out the quarterback if you're winning?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think Arizona's got to figure out a way to move on from Kyler. Now the problem is who's going to take him.
The Jets, because it's the Jets.
That's the question is do you take him to the Jets? Because I was looking at off season, and sorry, I'm just throwing this out there right now, and we can cut me off anytime. I was looking at one of my friends asked me where do you think AR could be traded, and if he can, where can he start? And I'm I started looking down the roster of teams that he could possibly start on, and there's not many teams. Now there's not a ton of teams with great starting quarterbacks, but teams that would really take a chance on him. And I think I put Kyler, even though he's, obviously more experienced than AR, but he's also older, smaller, everything else. There's not a ton of spots where I think a lot of these guys go. I mean, you're looking at the Saints. I mean, the Panthers aren't going to move on from Bryce Young for either of those guys. I mean, you look at the Jets with Fields, okay, so if you're Jets, are you going to go get AR, who's basically a bigger Fields with less experience? Are you going to get Kyler Murray, who's basically a smaller Fields, but the similar type of player? Does that make sense for them to move on from him to go to one of those guys? And then the Raiders, I think, are the wild card. What do the Raiders do? They draft a quarterback. The Raiders are the one spot I think you can trade Anthony Richardson to. If it was old school Al Davis, I said this in one of the Discords the other day. I was like, where's Al Davis when we need him? Al Davis would trade for Anthony Richardson and just let it roll. But what are they going to do? There's just, even though there's not a ton of great starting quarterbacks, some of these more mobile quarterbacks that haven't proven themselves, I think the time is running out, and where are they going to go? That, to me, is a huge question mark entering next season.
No, love it. Just Ball with Jay asks, sorry if I missed it, but are we playing Monongai today? I am. I'm playing him everywhere I have him.
Yep.
I'm scared too. I'm too scared. I'm worried about Swift.
I am too. I want to start him.
Wow.
I obviously the options. I'm sorry, what?
I'm sorry. Will just threw the shadiest of shades at Anthony Richardson in the chat. It's
you know
pretty
the crazy
bad.
part, Jorge. You know this is a pretty bad shade. I actually just had this discussion with my son. He's 12. The other day, I just had this discussion with him. I explained Jamarcus Russell and who Jamarcus Russell was AR before AR, and I like kind of walked through this whole thing of like how he like was the number one pick and then he bombed, and how the Raiders just need to give it another chance to take AR and hope that he ends up working out when Jamarcus Russell. So it's so funny that he that up because I literally 2 days ago had this whole conversation with my son. I don't even think he was listening at that time, but he's like, I went on this huge Jamarcus Russell like career arc ramp, and he was like, "Oh, okay, Dad." So there's that.
Well, here, let me ask you guys one for me real quick. Sorry, Dave.
Yeah,
Go.
This is for my league, and it's a flex spot. And I'll tell you, context is I started Cortland Sutton, which sucks. I had to necessarily 4.5, 5 points there. I have Tyler Warren going right now, only a little over 5 points. Still second half of football. In my flex spot, I have either Dowdle, Monongai, Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen. I'm chasing points, of course. Well, I'm not really chasing points. I'm still projected to win, shockingly. But is Rico the safest floor?
Mm-hmm.
Is Diggs the safest floor? Or Keenan Allen?
I think Rico's the safest floor. I think upside for me is Keenan Allen. But those are the two. Diggs is going to give you serviceable points. He's gotten all his points the last 2 weeks, and it's been average at best. He scored the last 2 weeks. First touchdown was week 8, then last week. So you take away those touchdowns, Diggs' floor is scary low.
Yeah, so I'm with you there, Dave, with what you and Nate, what you guys were saying. A-Rich, James, just with Jay in the chat says, A-Rich is not Jamarcus. I don't know how to take that. Will says Jamarcus was better. Wow. Okay. Just horrible.
So here's a question, I guess, is that was the key to Richardson gaining more trust and at least playing more games, seeing more snaps, is he could read the playbook. And I know that's Will saying AR probably at least read the playbook, which is true. I think Jamarcus Russell's work ethic towards trying to be a better quarterback doesn't go on par. But can AR throw 80 yards on his knees? I thought that was the dumbest thing I'd ever seen in my life. Is that was all the hype for Jamarcus is watch how far he can throw from his knees. And I know it was an arm strength test, and he's got an arm, cannon of an arm, but that was all the hype. And that's typical Raiders.
Wasn't it Richardson who said that playing in the NFL was easier than college? Pretty sure he made a comment to the media.
Richardson? I want to say you're right. I think that was like his rookie.
I know Leonard Fournette or somebody said something.
Somebody said,
It was AR this year before when he was meant to be the starter, made a comment that playing in the NFL was easier than college.
I think that was like his rookie year or something. That does sound.
I missed that. I don't know how I missed that. So, I don't love that.
He said what he said is everybody in the NFL is trying to work to stay in the league, which means players are more confident and competent. He believes this creates a more predictable environment where players can focus on their individual jobs, knowing that others are also executing their roles correctly. While the claim has been met with skepticism, particularly given that the NFL career has been hampered by injuries, he is basically alluding to in college, just the players, I guess, like his receivers and players. He played 1 year in college, right?
Yeah, at Florida. Yeah.
I mean,
he started 1 year. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I have to believe that the system. Well, maybe that was the thing. Maybe he's blaming his receivers in Florida for not running the proper routes, or maybe the offensive lineman for not And that's what he's saying, I guess, potentially, is that it's more predictable knowing that a route's going to be run properly. And I guess specific offensive line, I don't know. It's hard to get behind a statement like that. You're better off not making any statements like that whatsoever if you're not excelling or whatever the case may be. So as long as we have the questions and we're jump back to the this or that, we'll do some true this or that, some situations within the same team that I think I know the answer to some of these because we talked about them, but Amari DeMarcado or Bam Knight, I think everybody's leaning DeMarcado, correct?
Yep.
That's Bam for me. No, I'm joking. I'm great.
The second one was DeAndre Swift if playing or Kyle Monangai. If you had the choice of both, I think we've all leaned Kyle Monangai. But
I'm
Dave,
going
you
Swift.
said
I'm going Swift. I'm not happy about it, but I just think Chicago are going to feed him the ball.
And I can understand that. And that's one of the hardest decisions is, what the hell is Chicago going to do? And I don't know that answer. I would want to avoid both. But the last one is the one that I think can bring up the most discussion because what we've seen so far is while many expected Tyrone Tracy to be the lead back in New York with the loss of Cam Scatterboo, Devin Singletary, Devin Singletary, you all know my love as far as how he can be in an offense. I think last week kind of showed that. Granted, it's 1 week. We'll go around. JT, I'll start with you. Devin Singletary, you had to choose one of these two for this week specifically. Are the Giants going to lean on Devin Singletary or Tyrone Tracy?
The tough call is I feel like they maybe go Tracy. I like Devin Singletary better. I kind of thought he got a raw deal there. I've always liked Devin Singletary. He's been solid since he's ever been in the league. I'm not a huge Tyrone Tracy guy. I think he's okay. The second they drafted Scatterbo, I was like, he's going to take over Tyrone Tracy.
There's a reason Cam Scatterboo, after 2 or 3 weeks, became the 3-down workhorse back. Because otherwise they would have been a 1A, 1B, And
I agree.
It's not.
You probably got to play Tracy, right, Dave? Do you have to play Tracy? I personally like Singletary better. I'd rather play Singletary. I don't know for fantasy if that's the right call, but I actually like Singletary, especially if you're going to pound if it's really winning, you got to run. I feel like that's more of a Singletary than it is Tracy. But
there's more upside with Singletary.
I like Singletary, but that's just me.
He's a bigger back too.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think there's a higher floor with not only upside, but floor with Singletary. You go back to last week, in terms of snap percentage, Singletary 56.1 to Tracy's 43.9. More importantly, you go to his rushing share percentage, Singletary 38.1 to Tracy's 23.8. So it's, Brian Dable in week 9 gave the ball more to Singletary. And he was more effective with it, so it's one of those things in terms of efficiency metrics wise. So he believes in Singletary. He was his offensive coordinator in Buffalo back when he was Devin Singletary, as Dave called him a few years ago. If we're going off of a 1 week sample, which I know that's a 1 week sample, but Singletary seemed to predominate in terms of the touches there for the New York Giants.
Mm-hmm.
Out of those two, I would probably go with Singletary over Tracy. It's not by a lot. I don't think the Giants are going to start winning games anytime soon, so it's an ugly backfield.
Yeah, I do. My bias wants me to put Singletary ahead of Tyrone Tracy, which I'm doing. If you look at the rankings that I have, as Jorge alluded to over at fantasyandframes.com, I don't have them separated by much because I can't. I think it is a 50-50 split. And it's not going to be I don't think either one's going to be explosive because Chicago's really good at reducing the explosive run rate. Neither one has a fantastic explosive run rate. The hope is that Tyrone Tracy can do something when it comes to the missed tackle rate. He's better than Tracy is as far as missed tackle, yards after contact per attempt, etc. So I'm hoping just the one play will support Singletary. And many people like Jay says, he's like in Tracy. And I think that if we had asked 1,000 people last week, 992 of them would have said Tyrone Tracy as well. I probably would have been one of them. I might have been one of the Singletaries, though. You never know. So,
well, what's interesting is another thing that we talked about last week was, does Jackson Dart get back into his MO of rushing the ball? And Nate, you brought it up on Fourth and Frames last week, and he did last week in his matchup. And so it's one of those things where, like, well, given the weather situation, can the Giants offense really rush Jackson Dart? Are they going to give it to Jackson Dart, Tracy, and Singletary, like just have all three of them run, or is it basically Dart and someone else? And if I'm with you guys, I think Singletary is the one who would be the other one.
Yeah, right there with you guys. So at the running back position, those are some of the questions, some of the this or that's that I had from that aspect. Before we get into the wide receiver, Dylan joins us in the chat. Dylan, good morning. Is a full PPR, 2 questions, 2 different leagues. So let's start with the first one. One tight end option here. Dave, I know you got to get running soon, so I'm going to leave you, or at least set up the loss by discussing or choosing Colston Loveland or Dalton Schultz.
Out of those two, I'm going to go with Schultz. I think Mills is going to rely on him a lot more. He's tight ends are just a safer option for backup quarterbacks, right? So I think he's going to give you a nice floor. Loveland definitely has the big play upside, but Schultz's floor is a lot safer. As far as the one running back 2 flex, I just can't trust Jennings. I don't know, what we're going to be getting. Oh man, this is a really tough one.
Yeah. So the running here, I'll let you guys go. Running back options: Terrell Jennings, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, Bam Knight, Wilson. I mean, I think it's probably
it's Mason. Probably. If is Jones out? Do we have any news?
He's not listed as
Mason's not. Where's Mason?
Mason Taylor is the tight end.
I was some reason I thought Jordan Mason. Krosky-Merritt.
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm with you on Krosky-Merritt. Eric Wilson would have been my answer heading into last week, but then we saw with Josh Jacobs getting a full workload, being healthy from that calf injury, we went from like a 56 to 44 split in terms of snaps between Josh Jacobs and Wilson to now Josh Jacobs just predominantly having the ball. So Wilson is purely just a handcuff at this point. Where Krosky-Merritt is the running back that needs to go off. Terrell Jennings, there's the question mark of Travion. Bam Knight, we were talking about DeMarcado as being the guy who saw most of the work last week. So by default, it's JCM.
And you took the bomb for me there because I skip over Wilson every time as far as the first name because I've called him Eugene, Eric. Never once have I called him Emmanuel, his actual first name, and that's why I skip it because I don't want to fall prey to the Eugene or Eric Wilson. Sorry, Emmanuel. We know your name, and that's it. So
we know who you play for. Exactly.
We know who you are. Now, JT, we have 2 flex spots, one of which could be any of the aforementioned running backs, or you can choose 2 of Dalton Schultz, Isaiah Likely, Mason Taylor, or Pop Douglas. Tight ends can be my flex above as well.
I'm definitely playing Mason Taylor in that group. And then I'm a toss-up between Schultz and Pop Douglas. If it was tight end premium, I'm probably going Schultz. But again, I told you I just hate this Houston Jags game. I don't even want to watch it, any part of it.
No,
I feel bad for the people going to the game. I'm probably going to go Mason Taylor and just the upside of Pop. Hope that Pop gets something with May. That to me, he's got the best chance. Schultz are like just begging. He gets a couple underneath routes and gets something. I think Taylor and Pop are the bigger upside plays. I'm going those 2 guys in my flex.
Yeah, I hate Pop Douglas as far as week in and week out because he'll have
you never know. You don't know if you're getting a 0 or if he's going to go for 5 for like 81 in a touch.
That's exactly.
It's up in the air. It's so up in the air. But in a normal week, and if it was tight end premium, I would tell you Taylor and Schultz. But I just hate that game so much that I'm probably going to take the shot on Pop over Schultz this week.
Yep. I think I'm right there. Dave,
I guess.
appreciate you joining us.
Always.
Hope it starts to rain really heavy and you can enjoy the beautiful weather.
I hope it's terrible.
I hope it sucks. It's only 74. And
I hope it's a terrible day for you.
wish nothing but the worst for you.
I'm starting Kyle Pitts, so I'm already off to a bad day anyway. So that's all
Only
good.
takes one catch, my friend. Only takes one catch, and you can get right back into it. All right, man.
All right, guys.
Enjoy.
All right, have a good one, guys.
See you, buddy.
Yeah.
Well,
I will tell you this as I'm watching this Colts game. This is really, really bothering me, but Daniel Jones is starting to be Giants Daniel Jones in the last 2 weeks. Every time he gets hit, he's fumbling the football. He just fumbled twice in the last drive. Like, what is he doing? He has to take care of the ball to get rid of it. He is just dumping the ball on the ground constantly, and I don't like it at all. He needs to pick it up. So they just turned the ball over on another fumble. He got luckily earlier. He fumbled and got lucky that a lineman jumped on it. But this is I don't want to start seeing 3-4 turnover a game. Daniel Jones coming to the Colts if we can help it. Oh, Sauce Gardner almost had a pick, diving pick, just barely missed it.
Yep. Jay said he needed Sauce to get that interception. Will says he needs to know Mason Taylor or Harold Fannin full point PPR. I'm going to probably lean Fannin as much as I do like Mason Taylor more. I just with Dylan Gabriel, Fannin has been a tight end one. It hasn't been a high end tight end one. Definitely been a low end. But I just, as you alluded to, the Houston matchup is just so bad. I trust Fannin to not goose egg or at least not get 2.5 points. I think a 7 to 9 point floor is a pretty safe number. And Taylor concerns me that offense never gets moving and he's completely excluded. Jorge, are you on Fannin?
I'm on Team Fannin. If he's healthy, he's good to go.
JT. Oh, sorry.
No, that's it.
I'm probably leaning Fannin, even though I love Mason Taylor. I think they're playing each other, right? Isn't it Jets Browns today, or am I losing my mind?
You're right.
Yeah. So, I think you were talking about Schultz when you were talking about.
Oh yeah. What am I? Oh my God.
Yeah, you were talking about Schultz. I'm probably slightly leaning Fannin, to be honest with you, but I love Mason Taylor. I'm a huge Mason Taylor guy. I have him in a ton of leagues. I do think he's worth a play. So I think it's real close between those two. I can see going Fannin slightly over Taylor, but I'm playing Mason Taylor in a ton of spots.
Morning, Andy.
Hello,
gentlemen.
fellas.
Andy Behrens.
How are you?
Good morning. Good morning.
The Iowa Hawkeyes game was an exciting one. Have you calmed down a little bit from it?
It was kind of, I don't know, it was kind of classic. It was it was a loss. I'm upset about that, but what a drive by Oregon to salt it away. One of the throws of the year made by
Dante
that
Moore.
quarterback. So what are you going to do? Sometimes you have to be content to have played a very good game and to have actually, go ahead score inside the final 2 minutes for Iowa was pretty exciting. It's a great
thought
game.
it was
Two good teams.
I was rooting for your Hawkeyes, and then of course
If we had given it away in some sort of classic, conservative fashion that might be indicative of some of the more painful losses of the last 10 or 15 years of Iowa football, I would feel differently. But it was. I'm trying to tread lightly around criticizing Kirk, who actually has been a great coach for the program. But this is a good game. He got beat by a couple of great plays.
Well,
hey, it was better than the Mizzou Tigers versus Texas A&M. Mizzou got smoked.
Yeah,
that one was an ugly one. I like Matt Zollers, and I think he's going to be really good. But man, what an ugly debut for him! That was a rough one.
Yeah, losing Bo Prabula is rough, and I guess he's confirmed out for the whole season. No doubt of him coming back for any bowl game or anything like that. But people are not here to listen to us talk college football. Or maybe they are actually. Maybe we've
they
just
are.
read the room wrong the whole time. Maybe all the college football questions will start rolling out before they're like, finally, get you idiots off these being wrong. I'll let you be right to start your day off. Harold Fannin or Rondé Gadsden?
Come on, like really? Like I really like Harold Fannin, but these are two players from very different tiers. I think at this point, I mean, Rondé Gadsden's. If you don't have him in the top 5, you probably have him like tight end 6, something like that. Mm-hmm. Much more explosive offense, and again, I think Fannin's going to be great long term. I love the way they've used him, but we're talking about a weapon for Justin Herbert or a weapon for Dylan Gabriel. I'm going to go Gadsden here every time.
The old go with the quarterback, easy way out. I get it. That's just very intelligent way of.
It's a very good reason to,
Yes, 100%. I just had to pick Harold Fannin earlier and was talking about how him being a tight end 1, low end tight end 1, while Dylan Gabriel has been at the helm, and I had to muster through saying that and not being grossed out the whole time.
We do not talk enough about how Dylan Gabriel is probably 5'5". That guy is so small.
I don't even know. Like, if there was one thing I think that I would love to hear you guys' opinion or try to break down, what do the Browns even do? Like, when they get behind closed doors and they say, this is our plan for the future, right? What is that future, and how do they break down how it went so wrong in terms of a draft that could have been setting this team up with a defensive foundation, not offensive pieces, but they weren't that far removed from just being a absolute train wreck, and yet here we are. So I don't know.
Well, it's crazy. I believe this is the second year in a row, if I remember this correctly, that Stefanski has given up play calling duties for the Browns. And wouldn't it be funny where he's like, I'm stuck with Dylan Gabriel, even though why are you stuck with Dylan Gabriel? Like, whatever. But like, I'm just going to pass off this and, let the other guy, have like not as much success. And then watch Dylan Gabriel like ball out and like everybody's like,
The real question, probably the most pertinent question that actually has a tangible answer is who's taller? Dylan Gabriel, Kyler Murray.
Like, this is the thing. Kyler towers over Dylan Gabriel. I'm shocked every time I see Dylan Gabriel next to like a lineman. Every time I see him next to like one of his receivers. I mean, he's tiny. Where do they even list him? Do they list him like 5'10", something like that? I mean, he's just not even close.
I think he's listed around there, but there's no way he's taller than 5'7". He's got to be like 5'7".
I think we talked about this the first time when they played the Vikings, and he stood next to Carson Wentz after the game, and Wentz is like 2 heads taller than him.
Yes.
That was wild. That was just absolutely wild.
Will jumps in and lets us know real quick, by the way. A-Rich to Cleveland. Yes, please make it happen. That would be our favorite.
I love that so much. Yeah.
So Kyler Murray is officially listed as 5'10".
He's definitely
Gabriel.
not.
There's no way he's 5'10".
And Gabriel is listed as 5'11", which come on now.
Sweet.
Come on now.
I'm gonna go edit my profile in the Fantasy and Frames. I'm now 6'3".
This is where you go on
Wikipedia. What is it? What was that line from Fletch? He's like 6'2", 6'6" with the afro or something like that. Because he's in the Lakers. So I was like, okay. It's like, when you put the shoes on and the helmet, and he wears the helmet high, then he's like 5'10", ish, maybe. I don't know.
You ever see that graph of like the average male's reported height versus measured height? And everybody's completely honest until they hit like 5'10", and then all of a sudden it's way underreported, and everybody calls themselves 6 feet tall, and then like that's the only I mean, that's crazy.
This gives me.
I've been happily 5'10" since freshman year of high school, and I've just been there. I'm 5 right there.
I think my son is going to be like hovering around 5'8". And so, if anything, Kyler Murray and Dylan Gabriel are giving me hope that one day he may be a quarterback in the NFL. I didn't say a good one, but just in the NFL.
Hey, Kyler landed a $200 million deal. That's,
I mean, hey,
hope out there.
There you go.
I would love to see a Nate in the NFL one day. I hope to get tickets if that's the case. But real quick, Andy, before you joined us, Dave, who is with us on Sunday mornings, has basically been rubbing it in that he's in Hawaii this morning, and he jumped on at 4 a.m. As he left, as a good friend would do, I said, I hope your day sucks, and it starts to rain. It has started raining in Hawaii now. So if I have either clairvoyance or some kind of voodoo power, Kyle Pitts touchdown, Kyle Pitts touchdown, Kyle Pitts touchdown, and we'll see what it is. But legacy, here's one for you guys. We're getting a lot of Travion. What Andy, what was your take of how did Travion Henderson handle a quote unquote workload last week? What was your opinion of it?
I thought he was fine. I didn't think he was spectacular. I thought it was a good step. I still don't think it's weird because he was Chris Harris and I were talking about this on the podcast this past week. He was supposed to be like the chosen one in terms of pass protection, right? Mm-hmm. That was supposed to be one of the major points of difference. I mean, I saw a lot of him in college. I know how explosive he was at the college level, but he was also supposed to be the guy who was just simply not going to struggle in pass pro. And it's been a huge fight for him. It has not been good. And it's if anything is going to hold him back, it's going to be his struggles in pass protection and the holding calls and all that. So I don't think that's fixed, but I thought he was fine. And if you only get the workload that he saw last week, which was like 50 snaps, and he's running a route on every drop back, great. Like that was awesome. I think that's fine. I think you probably have to start Henderson here. Even in a matchup against a pretty stingy run defense, I think the Bucs have given up the most receiving yards to running backs this year, and obviously that's something that Henderson can do. So it's not a terrible spot for him. I'm surprised to see Odunze in this question. And I know it's been a couple of quiet weeks, but man, he had an end zone target last week. He had another ball that drops have been a little bit of an issue for him, but he had a drop and he had an end zone target. I don't know. He was really close to it being a perfectly fine week that nobody questioned.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be that bad. Also, I have fielded a few questions about the weather in Chicago, and right now it's fine. Right now, this would be like great football weather. I think it's going to get snowy and messy later in the day, but it's great now.
Gotcha. And Ted McMillan potentially not having, being healthy obviously skews a little bit. And if I'm the coaching staff and I have the choice of Travion staying in pass pro against a pretty heavy blitzing Buccaneers defense, or letting them release and rolling out to the flat and catching 6 or 7 passes that way, from a fantasy perspective, please let them do that. I will take, a 6, 7, 8 target game all day long, and hopefully the explosiveness can follow that up. Time will tell. But Will has a WWHL program back when Theo Fleury
this is a hockey. He's talking hockey here.
Oh, yeah. Well, I got the Theo Fleury. That I picked up, so I knew we were switching gears to hockey. Oh, yeah. By the way, Andy, we now incorporate college football Sunday mornings, hockey, rugby.
We're all over the place.
Frozen fantasy and frames, sure.
Yes.
Well, JT as the host of our fantasy hockey show. So I mean, hey, we have all bases covered. What can I say?
See, that's it. Great weather update, Andy. Jay says, which is true. It's another reason he's on here. He's our forecast. What is that? Meteorologist, I guess, is the right word. Which
that would.
Will has a question. All right, so this is the second Ted McMillan question. Is there any news?
No, he's just telling you these guys are all active. He's saying that it's just been announced that Tet's active, Aaron Jones active, Swift's active, and Fannin all active.
With that news, Andy, Jordan Mason, Aaron Jones, you think it's going to be a 60-40 split Aaron Jones favor?
Sure looked like Aaron Jones a week ago, didn't it? Yeah. I think if you could sign up for 40 right now, if you had Jordan Mason on a roster, you would do it to avoid the possibility of it actually being 25 or 30. So yeah, I think Jones is a strong play. Might be a little bit overdoing it, but I thought it tilted back Jones's direction in a big way.
let's do the over under 50% workload in Chicago. DeAndre Swift, Kyle Monangai. Do they ease Swift back in? Is it?
I kind of hate this one. First of all, I don't know what the personal issue was that popped up for DeAndre late in the week, but he had been a full participant in practice off the groin injury, so I kind of feel like the injury is cleared. They made some noise about potentially riding a hot hand at running back, and I don't think that's just lip service. I think they might really do that because they have been rotating these guys. Like Monangai a couple weeks ago played on the first series. He didn't start, but we saw him on the field on the first series. So it wasn't quite as simple as DeAndre Swift gets series number 1, Monangai gets series number 2, and then we rotate. It was they're coming on and off the field and they're playing within seconds of each other. I bet it could go hot hand. Also, the way that they have talked about Monangai most of the season, but particularly this week, is listen, I'm reading way too much into like what coaches and coordinators are saying, but it's whatever we pay attention to it. They really describe him as a prototypical goal line back, and I would not be at all surprised if goal line touches start sliding Monangai's way. And he's been good in that capacity, and he's been, anytime he just needs to like burrow for a couple of yards, he can do it. And I don't really think of that as DeAndre Swift's game. DeAndre Swift can make big plays. He's responsible for a couple of the signature moments of the Bears season. So it's not like he's been bad. But they are a little bit stylistically different. And I do think that Monangai can get some tough yards that are not always sort of the specialty for DeAndre Swift.
Yeah. And, you touched on the one area too that I think is important is high value touches. And if Jay has a question in a scenario where you would assume Travion Henderson's going to receive the vast majority of the touches. I don't know what, we talked last week about who can cannibalize any of the high value touches in New England, but is it still, I'll post it up here, Travion or Kyle Monangai in a full point PPR? Does a PPR swing you Travion's way?
I mean, the appeal to Monangai, first of all, he's coming off a great game, and secondly, he's facing the Giants, and the Giants give up, what is it? It's like 5.5 yards per carry, 150 rushing yards per carry. It's a terrible run defense. So I get that. I actually think this is a scenario where like the swing for the fences play is Kyle Monangai, right? Like if I'm I'm a 15-point dog and I just want somebody who I think can really blow up, I feel like that's probably Monangai. But that would require a lot of unlikely things to happen, but I think kind of a higher ceiling situation for him. If you just made me project this and say, what is the 50th percentile outcome for either player, I would lean toward Henderson now.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair approach. JT, you or Jorge adamantly lean Monangai in this situation with the news of DeAndre Swift, because earlier we weren't 100% certain how strong of a start DeAndre Swift in terms of from playing time was going to be. But Andy's kind of rectified that more. I think some of the missed time practice wise was some of the personal situation, maybe more so than injury related exclusively.
Right. So, looking at both Swift and Monangai and their performances versus stacked boxes versus base and light boxes at the line of scrimmage, they really haven't faced many opponents that have been stacking boxes, to be honest with you. It's mostly been in a base formation. So it makes me wonder, do the Giants with, the edge rushers with Dexter Lawrence, do they become a little bit more stout in trying to shut down the run this week versus the Bears? If that is the case, I would lean Travion Henderson in this matchup. And you throw on top of that the full nature of the PPR, I think you have to go Travion here between the two.
All right, JT. Cass County Cards wants you to affirm their decision, which is always the fun thing, which is honestly what everybody wants us to do, is choose the right answer that they were already thinking anyway. But at least they put it out and say it this way. It's PPR. Currently, he has Jawan Jennings and Travis Etienne in the flex. Mark Andrews and Woody Marks are on the bench. Are you putting Mark Andrews in for Etienne, or are you putting Woody, or either one of those two at the flex? Since you, over Juwan
I
Jennings.
think that's
or
a
Etienne.
pretty good one. I'm starting to lean on Andrews is going to get some more looks now that Lamar's back. So I'm leaning into him a little bit more. I do like Jennings just because you're like looking at the Saints, you're like, they got to get to somebody, right? And he's been getting some targets. I think to me, the floor play is Jennings. The upside play is Andrews, as we saw with the 2 touchdowns last week. So floor play for me is Jennings and Etienne. I would do Andrews if I'm looking for the upside with Etienne. Like I said, we talked about with Woody Marks. I'm begging in my leagues. I'm playing Woody Marks that he gets me 10. I'm hoping he gets like 6 catches for like 30 yards and like 5 carries for like 15 yards, and he just somehow gets me double digits in an ugly, ugly game. So I'm playing Andrews on the upside, but I'm playing Juwan in a lot of spots. So I think that one's very, very close.
Andy,
There's just no question that Jacksonville-Houston game is going to be so ugly, and it has like real life relevance too, right? Like there's some other ugly games on the schedule, but man, that one is an important game that is going to be disgusting. Not like Denver Raiders disgusting, but it's going to be disgusting.
Yeah. There's luckily. Speaking of, how was the game go on JT? Colts and Giants. Any updates for us?
The Colts. All right, so they've already missed a field goal and they've already missed an extra point. So they had a chance
Ugly.
to a field goal. They went for it again on 4th down and missed it again for the second time today. So they now missed 2 fourth downs in the red zone, plus a missed extra point, plus a missed field goal, and trail 17-13 currently. Really missing Schrader right now to the IR injury. It's brutal. They should have never, ever let McLaughlin go years ago now on the Buccaneers, but they had him, should have kept him, let him go. And they've been searching for a kicker ever since then.
Yeah, there's some positive news. Garrett Wilson, Cedric Tillman, and I'm guessing
Devin Lloyd.
Devin Lloyd.
Devin
AP.
Lloyd, that's a Jags.
Yep.
Will's always jumping with the IDP. We love Will. He knows the IDP. So Devin Lloyd.
Man, another weapon for Dylan Gabriel, as if he needed any more.
I'm just saying the new offensive coordinator is going to find some way to scheme him up, and he's gonna. No, I'm just kidding. That's not going to happen.
Yeah. At least if you chuck the ball deep, you don't really have to see where it's going to go over the offensive line. You can just throw it and hope that Cedric Tillman comes down with it. Positive affirmations I have. We'll also let us know Daniel Jones has 3 fumbles on the day.
I told you, I was like, this is not what I want to see. I'm starting to get flashback Giants Daniel Jones. We don't want that Daniel Jones that just turns the ball over constantly. Oh, not good. 3 fumbles already. And then just balling when Jay says, picked up the Colts kicker and played him in place all day. I'm sorry. That sucks. It's killing you. Absolutely killing you.
Yeah, you might have been better off just taking the 0, holding on to Aubrey's spot as a not the.
I'm always
he has minus 1 point, so you're not wrong.
I'm always embarrassed for us, like as a nation, when we send kickers to Europe and they.
Exactly.
They're like, we have 875 million people that can kick better than your guys. Or like, half the guys in the stands are like, put me in. I'll freaking make that thing easy.
They're all making U.S. national team jokes in the stands.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I just feel terrible about
it.
Hey, we're going to take your game that is the most cherished in your country, and we're going to change the name, and we're going to steal the word football from it, and then we're going to take it into this garbage shit show. But, is what it is. So, I do want to talk. We're on a topic here, and we got about 7-8 minutes left, Andy, and it's kind of the would you rather this or that scenarios, and I'm looking at a couple wide receiver scenarios, and the first one I want to talk about is kind of the number 2, and that's for this week specifically, is Tez Johnson versus Parker Washington. Neither are really the number 1 option traditionally, but both might be the number 1 option this week. If you're looking between those two and has a higher floor, higher ceiling, which way are you leaning between those two specific?
Yeah, this is a little bit of a version of the running back question we were talking about before. Like Tez Johnson has made 2 plays this year that I don't think very many receivers can make. The deep ball catch in the Niners game was crazy, and it wasn't even his best player of the year. That was the Lions touchdown. That was just a simple screen with the hurdle and the spin move and the lunge and all that. Like there aren't. I don't know. I'm not sure there are 10 guys in the league who score on that play. It was crazy. Right. So he to me, he's the upside guy, and it's a brutally unhealthy receiving core. I know that his box score numbers his game log doesn't look that great, right? It's not like it's full of 12 target, 14 target, huge explosive games. But man, that is an explosive player. And so I am, if you made me pick one of these guys who has a real shot at 20 fantasy points, I think I would lean toward Tez. Do I feel pretty confident that Parker Washington is going to see 8 targets and catch 6 of them and get us to 45 or 50 yards? I do. They also put him in they'll put him in some contested situations, which seems weird, but they do. But he's the guy who's got to face Houston. Houston is a really, really tough assignment. Not that the Patriots aren't, but I kind of lean, if I actually had to start, this is one of those situations where I'm not totally sure off the top of my head what my ranks say, but if I actually had to make the choice, I feel like the more aggressive ceiling play here is Tez Johnson.
Yeah. I have him, I have them back to back in my rankings, which is one of the reasons why I chose those 2, but also because they carry very similar scenarios going in, and that who will be thrust into the role trusted wise. Pivoting off that a little bit, guys, I kind of want to ask you all, I know my take on Jacoby Myers in this offense now, and that I think there could be a quicker ascension into trust with Trevor Lawrence if Jacoby Myers' hands transfer from Vegas over to Jacksonville, which they should. I believe that is a package. When you trade for a player, I do believe you get their hands as well. Not 100% certain. I just read about the poison pill in the top topic. Did you see that with Micah Parsons?
No.
I didn't know. So there's technically, they call the poison pill in the clause is that if the Packers trade Micah Parsons at any time prior to 2028, I guess, to an NFC East team, they have to give up their first round pick in 2028 or something like that. Now, I was reading a report. Did I back it up and validate it? No, but I'm pretty sure it was Adam Schefter that put it out. It could have been Adam Schefter. It could have been Adam Shelfter. I don't know that exactly, but I'm pretty certain I saw that. So obviously going back, yes, I do believe you get the hand. So what do you guys think? Is Jacoby Myers in that offense somebody that you're even looking to? I doubt he was available, but I guess a little elevator speech on him.
So the question here is this because the trade, is this the trade they made because the injury to Hunter or the injury to Thomas? Because that I think speaks a little bit more, because I would think that as we saw towards Travis Hunter's injury, he was getting a lot more looks going his way than Brian Thomas, or at least he was being more productive with the looks going his way. So if Travis Hunter, is going to be gone longer than his IR stint, the 4 games, then yes, this is definitely an upgrade here for the Jacksonville Jaguars getting Jacoby Myers, assuming that yes, his hands do travel with him from Vegas to Jacksonville, which I'm pretty sure they do, but don't quote me on that.
I got it.
To answer your now, the real question is what happens when Brian Thomas comes back? Does he become now like the 3rd option, and Brian Thomas gets bumped back up to being the 1st option? But that really wasn't working too well anyhow. So, it's almost like once everybody's back healthy, they're basically blowing up the priority of like, okay, well, who is our go-to guy? Who is the person that we're going to be emphasizing? Which I would imagine would be Travis Hunter, given what they invested to get him this past NFL draft, as well as based off of performance. But for the short term, yeah, I think this is a good trade for Jacksonville.
Best thing about Jacoby is you can line him up anywhere. I mean, the best thing about him is that he doesn't drop passes, which has obviously been sort of the calling card of every Jaguars receiver this year. People know they have 30 drops, the 3 guys near the top of the league in drop rate, all that. But Myers is, if you only look at the way that he was used this year, you might say, oh, wow, another slot receiver for the Jags. But that is not the role that he played like last year or the year before for Vegas. So he's super versatile, really reliable. Not the flashiest receiver out there, but he can basically cover any inadequacy that you have, any absence in your receiving core. It's just a question of whether he can get up to speed immediately this week.
Interesting little sidebar Willpower brought up to me. The poison pill was both two ways. It goes for Parsons and Kenny Clark. Is that I've never heard that in any contract before that they've been implemented, is that if Kenny Clark gets traded back to the NFC North, they get a 2028 first round pick, as long as it's not done, if it's done throughout the 25 or 26 season. There we go. Contract discussions as well. Add that on to the mantle of conversations we'll have. Probably the more important ones are the start sits, which Legacy has one right here, which is start 2 between Travion Henderson, Tedoroa McMillan, Roma Dunze, Kamani Vidal. I want to say we answered this question already, just because I know we didn't, but it's this. It
was on screen. We had it on screen. I know we had it on screen.
We did.
We had a second one. There was one question that was Henderson, McMillan, and Dunze. Now this is
Vidal being
Vidal in there.
I feel like Vidal is.
It was very similar. It was very similar.
Yeah.
What do you? I mean, are we still on board with Travion Rome? Or I know Rome is one for sure. At least it sounds consensus wise. Who's the number 2 for you, Andy or Jorge? Either one.
I actually have Henderson and Vidal like shockingly close, and I've got Henderson a little bit ahead. Again, that is a little bit of wish casting about how they might use him against Tampa. How I kind of hope they use him against Tampa. Vidal should have a comfortable workload. He's bouncing around, but it's either 30 yards or it's 130 yards, right? Don't know what you're going to get. I feel like the Pittsburgh defense has figured some things out. So I feel a little bit better about Henderson. Not by a lot, though.
Yeah, I have they're both back-to-back literally for me, 19-20. I would lean Vidal just because with the fact that the Chargers, offensive tackle situation being what it is, which talk about like how things were, going well in the preseason to where they are now at that position is just night and day. Just the necessity to get the ball out quickly versus that pass rush of Pittsburgh just leans to Vidal's PPR upside, I believe. And so that's where I would go Vidal over Henderson.
Well, I think if that's that's the last question we have. Start sit wise. Any final words, anything, Andy? I ask this every week before we go. JT, Jorge, I ask you guys the same thing. Anything that as we head closer and closer to the playoffs, scenario-wise within a team, is there's something we should hyper focus on, try to be first to market on, or something this week that you're going to identify that could change going forward for a team construct?
I'll just tell you a random thing that I was not really random thing, but before coming on, I was going through some stuff for Week 11. You guys probably know this. The Cincinnati Bengals have already given up 12 touchdowns to tight ends.
Crazy.
That's crazy. Like, they've played 9 games. There was not a defense last year that gave up 12 touchdowns to tight ends. They've played 9 games. That's just insane. So Trey McBride gets him in week 17. Like, and I'm not even a huge believer in the like tight end performance versus defense thing. But obviously, if you are a defense that just simply does not have a third or fourth person who can cover anyone, then that is going to trickle down to tight ends. And it's just shocking to me. Like, the Colston Loveland game is not even like the biggest game by a tight end against the Bengals. So just in terms of teams to pick on, situations to pick on, doesn't get any better than that.
It's staggering is typically if you see something like that, it's not always supported by the targets are still first against. They just happen to be attacked while in the red zone. Nope. If you look at the Bengals, as you mentioned, you have to combine the next 2 closest teams in touchdowns allowed, in the Commanders and the Dolphins, to equal 12. You have to basically, they have one of the largest separations in total yards allowed between each progressive spot. So their 50-yard difference between first and second is larger than almost any other spot between other teams. 8 more targets, Another, the highest in receptions last. Yeah, the Bengals as a cheat code. Everybody used the Chiefs last year as the tied in, but I don't think it was the same scenario. I think it was the Chiefs had 3 huge games that they allowed a ton of production because they weren't going to let the Ravens beat them anywhere else. So both Isaiah Likely and Mark Andrews had, or I think it might have been just the Likely game, but I don't think it was I don't want to say sticky, but yeah. And then as Will said, they traded Logan Wilson, which is just added pieces. So Trey McBride in week 17, any other major ones against the Bengals that
well, the week 11, it's the Steelers, and I think their tight ends scored 4 times in the last game against the Bengals. So yeah, it's a Freiermuth week.
That sounds good. Jorge, any?
Yeah, I would say as a general fantasy rule, we're week 10, we're getting closer to a month out from fantasy playoff time. I would not urge people to just go out and start getting handcuffs. If anything, I would, each app has their own ability to tag a player and see what is the latest news for players. I would start tagging your opponent's handcuffs as you're looking at your schedules heading in towards the end of the regular season, and just seeing who's the most advantageous one to go after. So that way, when you get to weeks 12 and 13, you put in those waiver claims if they are again available on waivers to go get.
And JT, final words of wisdom.
Take the points, people. Take the points. Freaking Colts down 1. Freaking killing me. Take the points, coaches. Absolutely blowing my mind. That McBride tidbit is freaking real nice. If you got him on your team and your team's playing well, you're like, ooh, that could be a really nice championship game piece. My thing is, we are at absolute crucial time for dynasty leagues. You got to go for it or trade right now. Do not wait another week. We're just finishing off the buys. If you think you're out of it, you got to start moving guys right now for picks. If you want to push towards the end, we got quite a few questions throughout the show on that. If you're in there, depending on record and points, you're in that top 3 and that points. Look at who your other guys in your league are. See how far ahead they are on you. If you got to make that move and give up that 26 first, I'm giving up that 26 first if I can get a stud player who's going to give me points every week. But you got to make that decision sooner rather than later, because there's going to be other teams in your league doing the same thing, and you're going to be kicking yourself when you missed out on the trade because you hesitated and somebody else put it in before you. So just figure out what you're going to do with your teams and make the move now.
Great points by all. Obviously, if you have any other questions for the next hour before kickoff starts, you can call these guys directly on their cell phone. Andy's number is 217. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. No one gives me their phone number. They're smarter than that. So, but
for this very reason. Yeah, exactly.
Right. But you can find them over at the names listed below. Andy Behrens is at Andy Behrens. If you haven't subscribed or followed any of the stuff over at the Deep Shot, you're stupid. So go do that. Jorge B. Edwards and JT Orange. I am Nate Marcum. Good luck this weekend going forward.